join me, won't you? Welcome to the Rob Brown Show as we celebrate this momentous occasion on 2023, the first day of February. Bye-bye. He gone for at least 45 days.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show that doesn't take sides. This is the Rob Brown Show.
Beamer taught me that move. You can see it now live on stream. Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. I can't guarantee you that would be the only time you hear that song. I'm just saying.
Well, clip 3, I guess. Let's just go ahead and get it out of the way. Clip 3. It is my entire social media feed right now. Is this video that got posted about half an hour ago.
Good morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring for good. I know the process was a pretty big deal last time, so when I woke up this morning, I figured I'd just press record and let you guys know first. So I won't be long-winded. You only get one super emotional retirement essay, and I used mine up last year. So really thank you guys so much to every single one of you for supporting me, my family, my friends, teammates, my competitors. I could go on forever. There's too many. Thank you guys for allowing me to live my absolute dream. Win change. I could go on forever. Love you all. Thank you guys for allowing me to live
My man got divorced to come back and play one more year, go 8-9, and get smoked like Dallas in the wild card round.
And the Jets flying in the background, symbolic of taking him home. Wherever that home may be, it's a lonely home.
Or it's a work and he's going to New York.
Well, hey, we got...
Maybe it's all a work and he's going to be a Jet next year.
Or the Jets are taking him to California and to San Francisco.
Hey, maybe. He'd fit.
But for now, them Jets taking him home.
I'll tell you, he's already at home. I'm pretty sure that's where he lives.
Does he? Okay, all right.
Unless he's moving back to Baston.
He could be. I'm sure he has many homes all over the place. Some of them no longer accessed, but you know, for the most part.
I'm being told we have no.
Yeah, I fixed it. Okay. My bad. I apologize. In my excitement for what was going on,
forgot how to do everything.
We weren't on stream, but we were on the air. You know, the most important part, I guess. So my apologies. I can recap for you. I played Celebrate by Kool and the Gang. You saw me dancing because he gone for 45 days. He gone for 45 days of glorious times.
You most certainly need to attend the Shane Beamer School of Victory dances, by the way.
Excuse me?
I said what I said. In fairness, you asked him yesterday.
I did.
During our interview with Shane Beamer, could you hit me with some dance lessons? And Beamer went, yeah, I can't dance, but I appreciate it.
Yo, man, you want to step up? That's what I'm getting over here. I'm thinking good old Star-Lord dance off. We're not talking that country stuff that you do with your hat on.
Secret cowboy.
Where they stole the line dance from people with rhythm and pretended like, here's how we do it. Cowboys.
Sir, first off, country bar line dancing is an art form. All right. And I won't hear no more slander from you.
Yeah. You gotta be careful. You don't want to trip on the beer.
You got any more?
Because you can trip on beer. I've seen it happen.
You can meet me right out front of the saloon.
All right.
For those of you that have not picked up on who that was yet, because you don't have any connection with the outside world at all, that, of course, was 7-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady announcing sitting on a beach, I assume, in Tampa Bay, Florida, that he's calling it a career and totes for reals this time, you guys.
Trolling the ladies, saying he's available because he is.
My cat took the divorce from Giselle to go 8-9, lose to Dallas in the wild card round, and film a 37-second send-off sitting on the beach using his cell phone in Tampa. R.I.P. Tom.
Attaboy, Tommy. Go have a life, dude.
James said he's retired for now.
Yeah, just don't show up on Sundays anymore.
I cannot tell you how much I hope that 45 days from now, we get a follow-up video on the same beach from TB going, yeah, no, I'm running it back. See you soon, San Francisco.
Yeah.
See you soon, New York. See you soon, Vegas.
I'll call in sick that day. I don't often do that, but, I will. It will be lots of time at the toilet just throwing up.
I cannot wait for the follow-up video where Brady says, I'm divorced and single. I got nothing better to do. Let's run it back. Let's run it back. If Derek Carr is going to grab the compensation for the Raiders that he's going to in the next few days, now that at least one massive chip is off the board, Brady can still get it.
All right, so it's everywhere on social media. All I got to say is that the camera angle, or is his forehead really that big? Look at that thing.
Listen,
that's like Peyton Manning height there. It's just I mean,
let's be honest here. Old people taking selfies never goes good.
That's like the leader from the Hulk. It's just like it's dude, that is up there.
Old people can't take selfies. It's not an ageism thing. It's just a statement of fact. All right. I cannot tell you. I had to give, and I love my mother more than I love any of you. I had to give my mom instructions on how to properly take a selfie because she either does the up the nose thing or the like way up over the head thing. Like it's not like you want it at eye level, like get the camera at eye level. And unless some of y'all forget that Brady is a 41-year-old man.
Yeah, but I get it with the single, but if you're trying to like say you're taking a selfie of you and all your guys on the Upstate Pulse,
45-year-old man.
You got to do that high angle thing to get everybody in there,
right?
Especially because you don't want to touch anybody.
It is one thing if you're taking a selfie that's a group of people, but if you're sitting on the beach announcing your retirement,
this has nothing to do with an angle. His forehead is that big. I guarantee, as someone who has a receding hairline, and I understand it, but I got the comb over ready to go. If you're on it, it's ready to go. That's why my hair's so long. But that forehead has reached new heights.
Are you saying Brady has a 5 head? Is
no,
that what you're rolling
dude,
with
that's
here?
a 7.5. That's not a 5. Head. That's a 7.5. Look at it.
He's still got nothing on Pepe, and I love Pepe.
No, man, I want to see side by sides. I got to.
He's lean. Look, I'm calling this shot right now. Okay. I'm telling you what Brady's doing. He's got the camera up over eye level and he's got his head down. This is a classic selfie mistake. He's going for what we used to refer to as the MySpace angle. For those of you that were on the interwebs when MySpace was the go-to, when the concept of selfies first began.
My stuff's still active. Look me up. So is yours, probably.
Get in my top 5, bro. If you are looking at the MySpace angle, the problem is if you go up above the head, you raise the head. The whole point of the MySpace angle, I'm giving selfie lessons on my show. You're welcome. You're not getting that anywhere else, okay? The whole point of the MySpace angle is that if you raise the camera up, the point is to get rid of your double and triple chins, all right? And so when you go up, you are also supposed to raise your eyes up to stretch out the neck, get rid of the double chins. That's the MySpace angle to make you look like less of a fat slob. I'm talking about myself. If you raise the camera up, but you don't raise your eyes up to meet it, then you end up creating the 5 head illusion. All right. You can say what you want. All I know is every time that I go watch football at a bar, there is a large contingent of women rocking Brady jerseys. And it's not because they just love Super Bowl rings, my guy.
All right.
It's because Tom Brady is an objectively attractive man.
Is he? Because
Yes.
I maintain that if you tried your best, you could not make your forehead look that big with a poor selfie angle.
Challenge accepted. I'll do it during the break.
Not without a special lens,
I
you
don't
couldn't
need a
do it.
special lens. First off,
You can't do it.
First off, I don't know if Brady is using any, because that's the other part now. And ladies,
You know,
and fellas out there,
when you break phones quite often, things don't function correctly. I'm just saying, you know.
I haven't broken my phone.
I was talking about Brady.
Oh.
Don't.
Oh, that's a good joke. I'm sorry. That's a great joke. That's a great joke I just ruined. That's on me. Ladies and gentlemen, be very careful out there, especially if you are on the online dating community, the ODC. If you are in the ODC, be careful, because the phone apps these folks are using to make themselves look more attractive than they are in their ODC profile pictures and in their retirement videos, as I assume Brady probably doesn't need to join Tinder after this is over, but you never know.
Believe it or not, there's some people out there who have no idea who he is.
7. There's 7 people.
Well, I don't know what his age preference is.
He is
but,
the
you know.
single most famous football player in the history of the game of football.
You send he and Patrick Mahomes into a room of people who have never watched football, they're going to know Patrick Mahomes. They're not
Because
going to know Tom, because he looks like Skeletor. They're going to be like, who's that skinny old dude?
Because he looks like Skeletor. He does not look like, I'm going to tell you right now, Lonzo, at 45, I won't be anywhere in Brady's game. I'm 38 and I'm not in Brady's game right now.
Hey, I can't help you with your self-confidence, but I will tell you.
It's not self-confidence,
I will,
it's a fact. That's like if I said, I'm not as strong as Mark Henry, and you're like, oh, sorry about your self-confidence. No. It's a statement of fact.
Those are two totally different things. Apples and oranges, as they say. As far as looks go, you're not going to look emaciated, I guarantee, when you're that age. And you're not going to have a forehead that big. It's just not going to happen. Hopefully, I'm around to go, hey, you remember back on 2/1/23 when you said that you were wrong. Look in the mirror. That's what I hope I get to say to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how to phrase this question, so I'm just going to go out with it. Is Tom Brady attractive? Yes or no? Text it to 71307. Start your text with fan, and then just hit me with yes or no. Is Tom Brady attractive?
All right. Don't say yes, his money is attractive.
No.
Because that doesn't count.
Just looking at his face, just looking at Tom Brady as a person. If you didn't know who Tom Brady was, if he wasn't the most famous football player in the history of the game itself, is Tom Brady attractive? Yes or no? 71307, fan yes or fan no. First text is already in, and it says fan. I would definitely make TB12 my side piece.
So you're in the booty chins.
Great text, by the way.
If you're in the booty chins, I mean, he's definitely. I mean, he's up there with the most famous booty chins of all time.
It is called a chin dimple.
That ain't no
and
dimple.
For a lot of people, it's considered a very attractive beauty mark.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
It looks like someone took a pen and went.
I don't mean this to sound as insulting as it does, Lonzo, but do you talk to women ever?
No, not really. I just, you know, I don't go, hey, Jill, what do you find attractive? Because you know what that sounds like? That sounds like you're hitting on someone.
No, not at all. It's okay to ask somebody.
No. If you go up and say, because right away they're going to be like, get away from me, old man.
3 yeses and 1 no so far, by the way. 3 yeses and 1 no so far. 71307, start your text with FAN, and then just hit me with yes, Tom Brady's attractive. No, Tom Brady's not attractive. That's what we're doing on the show today.
Check yes or no.
Check yes or burn out. That's a George Strait song you just referenced.
Yes, I'm well
Good
aware
job.
of it.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, it's a why.
All right, let's talk real quick, because no, I'm not going to do an entire segment on if Brady's attractive.
All I can say is, you know what? You know what? The other reason to celebrate, the NFC South is now wide open.
Sure is. And Carolina introduced their new coach yesterday. I pulled a bunch of sound from Frank Reich's introductory presser, and we're going to get to that in a few minutes. But I think we got to spend a minute on the only player in NFL history at any position to win multiple Super Bowls after turning 40, who has 35 career postseason wins. That is more than 27 NFL franchises have as a whole. There are only 5 franchises that have more postseason wins as a franchise than Brady has as an individual player. There's definitely something to that, right? Tom Brady in his 20s, 21,564 passing yards, 147 passing touchdowns, and 3 Super Bowl wins. That in and of itself would be a pretty damn good career. That's just his 20s. In his 30s, 40,018 passing yards, 309 passing touchdowns, 2 Super Bowl wins. That would be a remarkable career. That's just his 30s. In his 40s, 27,632 passing yards, 193 passing touchdowns, and 2 Super Bowl wins. Any single decade of the 3 of his life that he played in would be we would be talking about quarterbacks if they went 21-564, 147 TDs, and 3 Super Bowl wins. We would not be asking, are they in the Hall of Fame? We'd be going, yeah, they got 3. They're in. In his 30s, over 40,000 passing yards, 309 passing touchdowns, 2 Super Bowls. We would not, if that was an entire career, we would not be asking, is that guy an HOFer? We'd be saying he's going in first class. His 40s, 27,632 through the air, 193 and 2 rings. We would not be asking if a guy with that career stat line was an HOFer. We'd be saying he's first ballot. Those are 3 different decades of Tom Brady's career. You might dislike him for whatever reason you dislike him. Disinflated footballs, broken cell phones, tossing the Lombardi over Tampa Bay, knocking back 6 or 12 too many avocado tequila bangers. But what you cannot do is say that Brady's career isn't the greatest career of all time. That's it. All right, here's a couple of texts that have come in. Then we'll take a break, and we will talk about the 2 head coaches that got hired yesterday in the NFL. Sean Payton is a Denver Bronco. D'Amico Ryans is a Houston Texan. We'll talk about that in a minute. But texts that have come in. Texter, I would take Brady over Lonzo for sure, but he's not attractive. The Bills Mafia loved him so much, they threw toys at him on the field. Yeah, I remember that. I remember when Bills Mafia was lofting phallic representations
By the way,
onto the field.
We're not saying pick Brady or me. No, I'm not in there. Okay. I'm a grandpa. Why would you want to, I mean, come on.
Texter says, Rob, you sicko. Tom Brady isn't good looking. That's just a lie.
You turn on your social media today, and the first thing you see at the beginning of that video is forehead popping out almost in 3D. I just was scrolling and he jumped out again. It's like, oh, what happened? Where's the Barry Bonds talk? That's what I want to know. Barry Bonds his head got bigger and we got a bunch of talk. Why ain't we getting that talk on that thing? Because that thing that's a huge melon.
Here's how I know Brady's attractive. I just sent the lady friend a text that said, answer this question for the show. No holding back. Is Tom Brady attractive? And I promise you, whatever she's going to say, it's going to be insulting as hell to me. But I will stand by it because I don't disagree. Texter said, I would love to nestle into his chin dimple and live the rest of my life there.
That's creepy, man. That is so creepy.
Texter says, yes, exclamation point. So there you go. Texter said, wow, Lonzo is a true hater.
Okay, are you just tuning in? I've been consistent about my stance on this person forever.
Kevin said forehead shaming. You're a bully, Lonzo. We don't stand for bullies around here.
It just looks really big. All I'm saying is, and I think Rob's right. It's a sign of an old man. But I don't know that the lens is doing that. I think his forehead is really that big. I think he's retiring because the helmet don't fit.
All right, when we come back, if you walked away from that conversation because you were uncomfortable about a discussion about Tom Brady's attractiveness, that's okay. We're going to give you some stats and numbers about TB12 later on in the show. But when we come back here in just a minute, 2 new head coaches hired in the NFL yesterday, a third one introduced for the first time. The Saints have traded Sean Payton to the Denver Broncos. We'll tell you what the compensation was for that. DeMeco Ryans has signed on with the team where he made his name, the Houston Texans. We'll talk about that. And later on in the show, opening up the next hour, we will talk about the Frank Reich introductory press conference from yesterday. All of that and more coming up on the Rob Brown Show. Actual sports when we come back. And also, Tom Brady's attractive. It's the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Cup of haters. Cup of haters. Not
No,
a cup of haters.
This one.
Just a hater.
This me.
Not a cup of haters.
Yeah, I looked over that stuff last night, Keegan. I'm excited for one thing in particular above all else, and that's Damian Wayne. I can't wait to see who they cast for that. We've already seen something in the vein of that with Titans season 2, with the new Robin, with who was really angry. So I can't wait to see that and see who they're going to cast. And the other cool part is they say the crossover between animated, live action, and video game, whoever is the guy, like whoever they pick to be Superman, will be the voice in all animated and all video games, and for continuity's sake. And I think that's a pretty cool thing. I got you, James. When it does return, though, I think there's only like 6 episodes left, and that's it. And yes, I will jump away from Tom Brady as fast as I possibly can. Yeah, the lanterns thing is pretty cool too, because they're using both lanterns, and it's a mystery that's supposed to lead into everything that's going to happen. Yeah, you're right, Steven. Rob does hate Superman. That's why he won't comment.
No, he doesn't. I just think some of the writers have gotten a little
no truth,
carried away.
No justice, no American way.
I am a real American.
He's a big fan of the Red Sun.
I fight for the rights of every man.
Big fan of Red Sun.
I am a real American.
The new Black Panther bothers me, man, Kevin, because they ruined Shuri, my favorite character.
They ruined Shuri.
They ruined Shuri. They ruined her. They ruined
Shuri?
her. They made her angry. They made her something she wasn't. And again, we've had this discussion. I know people
die.
Yes, I do. But I don't think there's any coming back from this, which means
the whole point of the story was her coming back from it.
She did.
Was literally
she
the
did
arc
not.
Of the movie.
She did not. She did not. They ruined the movie by turning Shuri heel.
Oh, you're just wrong, dude.
No, I'm not.
Right, and then they did it's a redemption arc movie. She got dark and broody for a minute, and then by the end of the movie, she recognized responsibility.
There was not enough. There was not enough at the end to show that she had turned back to the light side.
It's not the last movie. You're going to get her back.
It might be. We don't know. You seen any plans for 3? I haven't.
No. It's not a spoiler, James. That movie's been out for 8 months. It's on you now. Even I've seen that movie.
That says it all right there. You know, Keegan, if you're not busy Saturday night, you can tune into the Upstate Pulse. So we're gonna go in depth. Did you see what I sent you earlier? All that stuff by the trash. He posted that. That's what. Yeah.
And also, by the way, I don't know if it means anything or not, but you'll notice that is duct tape that he has his name written on across his shirt.
It's the same way Kevin Owens has. Yeah. I'm not traumatized. I'm not. He went to Michigan. B, he deflates balls. 3, he breaks phones to cover up cheating. They made a stupid tuck rule for him. There's just a lot of things. And not only can I not stand Michigan for obvious reasons, I can't stand New England either. So, I mean, it's just been the perfect storm. And then he went to a team that anyway, I won't go there.
We got a text and a Facebook message at the same time. Ryan on the live stream at facebook.com/thefanupstate or by searching and subscribing to the Rob Brown Show on Twitch or YouTube said, okay, Lonzo, what did Tom Brady do to you that traumatized you so bad? LOL. And at the same time, we got a text that said, Lonzo, point on the doll where Tom Brady touched you.
First of all, ew. Second of all, I've said this many times, and I have no problem with saying this again. Tom Brady went to Michigan. That's the first strike. The second strike is he's a cheater, and he's a cheater. Also, he's a cheater, and he's a cheater, and Joe Montana is the greatest quarterback of all time.
I have to express a bit of shock here. All right. I again, nothing but full disclosure and honesty. I'm coming to the Sean Payton thing. Stay tuned.
All right. So are you shocked that she might be on my side on this?
I'm shocked that she is on your side. Okay.
How many times has she been on my side? Quite a bit.
True. The lady friend and the mother have both texted in their opinions on this. Okay. The lady friend and the mother have both texted in their opinions. The Madre says, Brady doesn't do anything for me. He has a pretty boy look, not manly enough. All right. And then the lady friend has on the 1 or 0 game, a 0. Right. So the 1 through 0 game is if you go to a bar.
I was gonna say I'm ancient,
yeah.
So and plus the whole going to the bar thing that also leaves me out.
This is like her thing with her gals, right? Like when they look at a dude, like most of us rank the attractiveness of other people 1 to 10, right? Well, they're a 6, they're a 7.5, they're a 4. You know, they rank men that they see as a 1 or a 0. I would or I wouldn't, right? Like I would or I would not. And she just said, Brady's a 0. She would not. I'm a little shocked honestly, I am a little shocked by that. I guess I don't know her as well as I thought I did. But Zoe, the Madre, and the lady friend are all on the same page.
I'm just scanning down.
Of the 4 of us, I'm the only one that thinks Brady's attractive.
I'm just scanning down, and all I see is like half of a head. The big old forehead. So just the beginning of dude, that thing it's gigantic. It really is. He could have. He's got enough money to hire a crew to film this thing. Did this make it more personal? Yeah, maybe.
All right, Sean Payton. Keegan said pre-divorce he was handsome. LOL. I don't know. I can't speak on that. But it is what it is. All right. The Broncos and the Saints agreed to a deal yesterday to make Sean Payton the next head coach of the Denver Broncos. Shefty and Rappaport reported that around the same time. There were a couple of deals on the table for Sean Payton that involved different round picks, but in different years. The one that the Saints ultimately selected was the Saints get a first-round draft pick this year and a second-round selection next year for the rights to hire Payton, who remained under contract in New Orleans. The Saints will send along with Payton a 2024 third-rounder. So they are getting back a first-rounder, and next year's third moves up to the second round, right? They're getting a first and moving up. So they're not getting an additional pick. They are just upgrading their third rounder to a second rounder next year. The other option if I recall correctly, was New Orleans gets a first rounder next year and an additional fourth rounder, but all they had to do was send Peyton. They wouldn't have sent a pick. So they decided that to upgrade from the third to the second and have a first round draft pick this year was the way to go. The Saints will be drafting 29th in this year's NFL draft's first round. I genuinely do not understand why New Orleans decided to pull the trigger on the first rounder this year and not push it to next year, right? Is there going to be a franchise quarterback available at 29?
You're one player away with your Saints, right? Just one player away. Yeah, 29. Isn't it better than no picks at all, though? Which is what you had going into this, right?
I would rather have next year's first. I would rather have 2 first rounders next year, right? I'd rather have 2 first rounders next year because one of two things happens. Either next year, the draft class is deep enough that one of those 2 picks is going to have a quarterback fall to it, or you have the ability next year to package 2 first-round picks together to move up in the first round and get your guy, right? You can give another team a second first-round pick in order to jump up in the pecking order and find your guy. And instead, we're going to have a first this year, which, by the way, spoiler alert, the Saints are going to suck this year. You're going to have an extra you're going to have a first rounder this year. Extra.
It is the NFC South, and it was not very good this past year.
It was won by a sub 500 team.
So you're saying that as if it will shock the world.
Here's the thing. I don't think we're even close to 500 next year.
Really?
Yeah, I think we're a 3-win team next year. I think the first rounder, and that's what's going to be interesting about 24.
Is this because of coach or because of players?
Dennis Allen, we did the records a couple of days ago. What did I say Dennis Allen's record is? He's like 14-35 as a head coach, right? And granted, he took over as a head coach of a terrible Raiders program, and he took over a Saints program this year so the Saints should not have been 7-10 this year. They left about 5 games out there that should, could have, would have been won. So did the Falcons. So did the Panthers. So did the Buccaneers. But they're just bad. They've already committed to Dennis Allen for 1 more year. I honestly almost kind of wonder if that is because they want to see what next year's coaching crop looks like, right? There were 4 guys in this year's coaching crop that were interesting. DeMeco Ryans, Sean Payton, who obviously was not an option for New Orleans. DeMeco Ryans, Sean Payton's, Frank Reich, and Jim Harbaugh, to me, were the interesting coaches. Reich, his time at Indy, a lot of us felt was unjustifiably cut short. We're going to talk about him at the top of the next hour. Put a lot of sound from his introductory press conference that we will play for you to open up the next hour. Frank Reich, I thought, was unjustly knocked out at Indy, and I think we have seen the meltdown of Jim Irsay since that, so it makes sense. Frank Reich was interesting. Jim Harbaugh was very interesting, and not only is Jim Harbaugh interesting, but all the way up through the beginning of this week, there were reports out there from unsighted sources that Harbaugh was actually, even though he had committed to return to Michigan, that Harbaugh was still secretly having conversations with the Denver Broncos, and that the Broncos were basically waiting on Harbaugh to end up taking that spot or not before they made the all-in play for Sean Payton.
So you're saying Payton is a second choice?
I'm not saying it because I don't believe that, right? All I'm telling you is, like, for instance, Mike Florio at Pro Football Talk said on, I think Monday, he sent out a tweet that said something to the tune, and I'm paraphrasing it because I don't have it pulled up, but he said something to the tune of, I wouldn't go to bed thinking that Harbaugh to Denver can't still happen, or something like that. So he was effectively saying Harbaugh and the Bronx are still talking, even though Michigan's AD came out and said, oh yeah, he's definitely coming back. He told me. Like Harbaugh may have been still on the phone secretly with the Bronx behind the scenes. I think Denver basically saw that the D'Amico deal was getting done with Houston, the Frank Reich was done with Carolina, and they basically didn't want to wait around, right? Because if Arizona makes a power play for Sean Payton and Sean Payton goes, hey, yeah, you know what? I do want to get back into coaching. I'll go to Arizona. Then they could have been left standing there with no Sean Payton, no Jim Harbaugh, and the other two best coaches, D'Amico Ryans and Frank Reich, both off the board. So I think they eventually just said, we got to pull the trigger. We just got to get this done. I saw the reports. The Saints wanted 2 first-rounders. Let's be honest. I told you for the past 2 weeks, the Saints are not getting 2 first-rounders. I thought first and a middle rounder. The second deal was a first and a middle rounder. It was the 2024 first and an additional 2024 fourth. Instead, they opted to go for a 2023 first and to upgrade their third rounder to a second rounder. So that's about the asking price I thought Sean Payton was going to go for. Now he's off the board. D'Amico's off the board. And effectively, Indy and Arizona are now left standing out in the cold because I don't think either one of them is an option for Jim Harbaugh, right? I don't think he's leaving Michigan to work for Irsay or to take on Kyler Murray's contract and not have room to make many other moves to make that team better. So they're kind of screwed now. I am not surprised that the Payton news came out of left field yesterday. I think the D'Amico Ryans thing has probably been in negotiations for a couple of weeks now, or at least a couple of days at this point. And they got that deal done, which, by the way, I think is a great hire. It's a great hire. Houston's a blue-collar town. D'Amico was a blue-collar linebacker. Houston's trust between their organization and their fans is an absolute dumpster fire.
How long does he get, though? I mean, because that
team
team
to a 6-year contract.
It would take probably that long to turn that thing around. Because it's. Is there a team worse than you? I know you talk about Indy, but I think
Houston's worse than Indy.
Houston is worse than Indy.
Absolutely, I don't disagree with that at all. I think Chicago is better than Houston, despite having the number 1 overall pick. I think Houston's terrible. Here's the problem with the Houston Texans, and this is why this is a case study that I'm going to be following very closely. The problem with Houston is that they're not just bad. They're not just bad, but their organization has been bad. Easterby has been bad. Casario has been bad. The ownership has been. When Bob McNair moved on and put his family in charge, they're not football people, but they insist that they make the decisions, right? So I think part of what's going to be I think what the most interesting part about the D'Amico Ryans to Houston talk is that D'Amico Ryans likely doesn't take that job unless he walks in the door and goes, I'm a football guy. I relate to the players because I'm not that much older than them, but I've also got a ton of experience, and I've got experience during the point in time where Houston wasn't a joke. During the point in time where this organization wasn't being crapped on by every media member in the United States. So if I'm going to do this job, you're going to get the hell out of my way. You're going to let me make the decisions. I'm going to be in charge of the relationship with the players. I'm going to be in charge of the relationship with the fans, and I'm going to build this thing, and you're going to stay the hell out of my way. Because Casario came in and went, we're going to do this the Belichick way. Well, I got news for you. Belichick has a losing record without Tom Brady. I'm not saying Brady gets all the credit. I am saying that when Brady left New England, Belichick has been a loser since then. And he brought in Easterby, the former Patriots chaplain, who decided that we're going to run a football team / missionary. We're going to run a religious institution / football team. And you see the results of that. So I think D'Amico Ryans probably only takes that job if D'Amico Ryans can go in and tell the McNair family and tell the dudes in charge, hey, look, here's the deal. I'm in charge of this football program. No questions. I'm running the show, yes or no. And I think the Texans have lost so much trust, and revenue with Texans fans that they went, yeah, whatever it takes, right? Whatever it takes. We tried to be different and unique and whatever, and it failed miserably. So they brought in the football dude to connect with the players a football dude that has a history and a legacy in that town who can now look and go, H-Town, I'm one of you. Rocket City, I'm one of you guys. I played here. I cut my teeth here. I was good here. Trust me on this. I know how to get it done. Frank Reich in his presser was asked about the power balance between him and Scott Fitterer. We're going to address this in a little while. And he said, look, it is a collaborative effort, right? Like me and Fitzy have to be on the same page. We both have to have control of this. Casario and Easterby, we're not like that. It's our show. It's our circus. Except for it turns out they were the clowns, not P.T. Barnum. I'm not saying D'Amico is the guy. I'm saying D'Amico has got a reputation, a legacy in that town. He knows the game of football from the inside out. He brings that blue-collar mentality that the folks in H-Town want, and he's going to take the decision-making out of the hands of Casario. As James just pointed out, Easterby is gone, finally, which I think was a decision that never should have been made in the first place, and certainly the decision to relieve him of his duties has been long coming. D'Amico's the right pick. The Peyton to Denver thing, 100% is up to the answer of the question, is Russ washed or can Russ still cook? Russ played 15 games under Nathaniel Hackett. He looked absolutely washed in those 15. Nathaniel Hackett got fired week 16 and 17. Russ looked like Russ again, right? When a coach came in and said, hey, why don't you just go do Russ things, Russ looked like Russ again.
I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but he did play better, but I don't remember who he played and if those teams were still in it.
One of them was you.
Oh, okay.
Week 16, he played the Chiefs, and he looked good.
What was the end result?
You guys won the game.
Yeah, I just I couldn't recall.
You guys won the game, but it wasn't because Russ was bad. You guys won that game 27 you guys won the game 27-24. Russ went 26 of 38 for 222 and a touch. It's not awful.
It's compared to how he did the entire season,
Yeah.
with us making fun of him the entire season.
They ended
Now
the year,
he's going to have structure again, and he operates better within structure because he can't let himself get too big within it. Sean Payton's going to rein a lot of that in.
They ended the game with a 31-28 victories over the playoff-bound LA Chargers, a game in which Russ went 13 of 24 for 283 and 3 touchdowns through the air.
Still not a believer in the Russell Wilson hype, but I've never said he was a horrible quarterback. He was very much a system quarterback in Seattle, and we saw that with Geno Smith coming in and basically doing a lot of the same things. He's probably going to play pretty well under Peyton, but he's still in the AFC West.
What is Peyton known for? Designing an offense around his quarterback. What is Nathaniel Hackett known for? Russ is going to be better next year. Now, is Russ going to be a Pro Bowl guy? I don't know. But I know he's going to be better, and that's why that interest is higher.
Is he going to be the third or fourth quarterback in the AFC West?
I honestly don't know.
Do you think he's going to be one or two?
He's not better than Pat. Do I think he could put up similar numbers based on what we saw towards the end of this year with Herbert? Maybe.
And we don't know who the Raiders quarterback is going to be.
Correct.
So,
unless it's Tom Brady.
Whatever.
Back after this to wrap up hour number 2 of the hour number 1. I'm so excited. I'm just like skipping ahead in time, man. Marty McFly in this bad boy.
Yeah, let me savor this day. Don't try to take an hour away from me.
I'm just really excited to get to Friday night. That's all. We'll come back. We'll wrap up these NFL thoughts. We will open the 10 o'clock hour with sound from Frank Reich's press conference yesterday and plenty more. Don't go anywhere. The Rob Brown Show's on the radio. It's the Fan Upstate.
I got to go to the restroom.
Oh.
All right. And he does this every time. I got to go to
give me a hand signal next time.
Because then you'll go longer. I'm not.
I wouldn't dare.
Yeah.
I can't go longer than we just went. That's the longest we can go. All right, what do we got over in the chat? Sean Payton had an undersized athletic quarterback. Where have I heard that before? Yeah. Again, I'm not arguing that Russell Wilson is going to be a Pro Bowl quarterback again. Like Lonzo said, I think he's going to be the third best quarterback in that division. But it's a division of good quarterbacks. And if you're going to hire a cat, to take over and try to push that offense, which has got some weapons, Sean Payton's the right guy for the job. Right now, here's the other aspect of it. I don't think he goes back, but has Vic Fangio been hired yet? I should know that. Yes, okay, he has been hired, so never mind. He's off the board. I was going to say Peyton with a Fangio defense could be very, very good, but they didn't get that. But yeah, I mean, he got this job because of what he did in New Orleans with undersized Drew Brees. A Drew Brees who never got credit for the mobility and escapability that he had. Yeah, Joe just said you can be the third best quarterback in that division and still be a top 7 to 8 quarterback in the NFL. Mahomes and Herbert are that good. Correct. That's exactly right. So we'll see. It's interesting. Brady will slide into Peyton's spot for the Super Bowl pregame. He may just slide into a spot on Fox, right? Didn't Fox offer Brady like $245 million or 325 million to come be their next studio guy? It's a hell of a lot of money to offer a dude who's never done that before.
What? Why?
Is Tom Brady that? See, this is one thing I'll say about Brady. I'm a Brady fan. Ain't no problem with Brady. Brady doesn't strike me as a guy that is compelling in television, right?
Yeah, I don't.
Brady doesn't strike me as a guy that's like, I gotta tune in to hear what Bradshaw says, what Gronk says.
I was gonna say Brady probably gonna be better than Gronk, but it's not that hard. It's not that hard to do.
Right. Gronk will. See, that's the thing, and I guess like we've had a lot of discussion about the concept of styles of entertainment, because compelling can mean a lot of different words, right? There are some people that are compelling because.
All right, here's the problem I have with Gronk. McAfee's allowed to be McAfee. Okay, when he's on, Gronk is not being Gronk. Gronk is being Gronk. This is how a TV guy is supposed to be.
He's cleaned up Gronk.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about how he's dressed. I'm talking about how he talks and everything.
No, he shows up in turtlenecks in suits because that's Gronk, and I get it. McAfee is allowed to be McAfee, but think about it. McAfee on game day in that environment is different than a studio show, right? Like McAfee on an NFL studio show acting like McAfee would not feel like the right fit. He would be out of place. McAfee in front of 10,000 college football fans drunk at 8 a.m. on a Saturday fits perfectly. McAfee in front of a WWE arena fits perfectly.
And you put Gronk in that environment?
And I think Gronk would thrive.
Yes,
Absolutely.
He would. But he doesn't fit where he is. You're right. It has to do with style. It has to do with someone who is trying to do a job that, maybe wasn't made for them.
I'd rather see Brady on the Manning cast in a talking football with the boys situation than Brady trying to be Al Michaels. Yeah, I agree. I don't need Brady on the pregame. I need Brady in a Manning cast. You are exactly correct. Exactly correct. Trey said, just got my ticket to NXT Vengeance Day Saturday. I should be right next to the entryway, so I might be on camera. I'll keep an eye out for you. We will be playing Dungeons and Dragons during that event, so I'll be watching it on replay when I get home.
Yeah, I'll be watching it Sunday, but I will be watching it.
Yeah. We're going to play a little stream D&D that night.
Because we ain't getting home till late. So, I mean, especially last time, that was my fault. We had an ending spot, and I'm like, yeah,
perfect picked out ending, and then Lonzo's like,
because I wanted to fight,
kill something.
Yeah, I want to fight. I do, 2 sessions, didn't kill anything yet, so, but we took care of that.
It's the prologue, Lonzo.
Yeah, I don't care.
Prologue.
I'm just there to fight, and I got to do some of that, and because I'm interested in the team dynamic and how if we're going to work together or work separately, and it seems like there's 2 teams. And then 1 individual who may or may not be a girl. Still don't believe that.
Yes, Kevin. 1 is yuckable and 0 is non-yuckable. That is correct.
Sounds scientific.
It is. It's a well-developed system. Wrapping up hour number 1 of the Rob Brown Show. Rob Alonso with you. D'Amico, I think a great hire for Houston. I'm going to say this, Alonso. I don't know if he's going to be a great football coach. I know San Francisco's defense this year was arguably the best in the National Football League, and D'Amico was their coordinator. I know that D'Amico is a guy that, if you ask me who knows football, when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, D'Amico Ryans is that pick. D'Amico seems to have an eye for the game. But as we have mentioned in the past, there are some guys that hit a wall. They're just meant to be a coordinator, nothing else. Peter Principle. Everyone goes one level above their level of aptitude. I don't know if D'Amico's going to be that guy or not. What I do know is, for the Texans, he's the right guy at the right time. Blue collar, knows the game, has a legacy in that city. The fans are going to be pumped. And at a point in time where most Houston Texans home games had more away fans than home fans. Not a great look. Sean Payton to Denver. Again, I think it's a great hire for Denver. Sean Payton's a guy that knows the offenses. He knows how to work with undersized quarterbacks. They have got plenty of weapons in Denver right now to compete. It's a hell of a division.
But D'Amico Ryans has the least amount of pressure because they're not expected to do anything. Sean Payton goes to Denver. They're expected to immediately be a contender like they were last year when they got a quarterback and immediately they're supposed to be a contender. We'll see.
Completely agree. D'Amico Ryans' step 1 is rehab the image of the team with the fans. That relationship is fractured. His job is to rehab that, then make it a good football team. Sean Payton's job is put us in contention for a very difficult division. The Chargers are good at getting better, although the coaching there is a question mark too. I don't know if you guys have heard this about the Kansas City Chiefs. They're pretty good.
Yeah,
And DeRaidis feel like they're a quarterback away, which is why they're making the move on from Derek Carr. It's a tough division next year, and Sean Payton's going to be expected to have them competitive out the gate. But again, the question is Russ washed or can Russ cook? If he can still cook, that Denver team could be pretty good under Sean Payton next year. But he's also been out of the game a couple of years.
I think Payton stops the whole let's ride thing.
My favorite one was last night. I got a text from a buddy of mine who's a Broncos fan. And he said, Broncos country, we tried. That was my favorite. All right, when we come back, I have got some audio from Frank Reich's introductory press conference yesterday as the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. We will run through a bunch of that, give some initial reaction and thoughts to it. It is also National Signing Day, ladies and gentlemen. Most of the signings will be happening after we go off of the air today. But there are a few we can talk about. We'll hit them when we come back. Rob Alonso and you, the Rob Brown Show, the Fan Upstate. A 10-year-old dies after brawl breaks out among spectators at a middle school basketball game. I don't understand.
usual actually use?
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel. Babbel. Olvida more. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
experience the future of connectivity with Spectrum One. You get Spectrum Internet delivering the fastest speeds in the nation for $49.99 a month. Advanced Wi-Fi and enhanced privacy and security free for 12 months. And a Spectrum mobile line with unlimited talk, text, and data plus nationwide 5G free for 12 months. That's Spectrum One. Visit Spectrum.com or your local Spectrum store today.
Nothing will put you into hustle mode quite as much as a particular person coming into the bathroom, going to the stall, and hearing that toilet seat hit the bowl. Never washed my hands so fast in my life.
I hate to, disagree with you, but I would think that you probably washed them faster after the event had already happened and you're in there.
Now, fortunately,
When you're on the tail end and not the beginning, it's
I was
totally
wrapping
different.
up when the individual lowered the toilet bowl, and I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, because it's pretty instant.
Oh, I didn't tell you this. I had a call yesterday with a guy from the First Tee of the Upstate that I helped their charity out. He asked me next Tuesday if I would come out to. No, it's fine. Oh, I listened to the farmers yesterday. They're good. Well done. Thank you.
You can go ahead. I mean,
No, I want to hear the end of it again. So he said, can you come by Tuesday? We're having our season kickoff party. I was like, absolutely. And he said, do you want to do the BMW driving experience? And I was like, well, I did the hot lap last year. I don't want to take up a spot. He goes, no. You get to drive this year. So next Tuesday when we get done here, I'm going over to the BMW Performance Center to do the driving challenge. And I haven't been this excited about anything in a very long time.
Do they keep times on that?
Yeah.
Are you going to compare times with
I'm
someone down the hall?
JD's numbers.
Yeah, because you got to know what you're aiming for.
100% gonna go get JD's
okay,
numbers.
all right, because it's all about competition.
100%.
Yeah.
As soon as he said it, I'm like, coming for you, Stone Man. Coming for you, Stone Man. We're gonna go straight to the Reich audio. There's a bunch of them, so I will call them out. We'll probably go in order. Probably go mostly in order. Our numeros to the Rob Brown Show goes right now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Rob. The Great One Lonzo is on the other side of the metaphorical glass this AM. Should you like to be a part of the radio broadcast, there are multiple ways for you to do just that. The phone lines are open at 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-326-3663. You can text us on the text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air. FAN, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air. You can tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show. That's me. At Lonzo on Word. No A out front. Starts with the L. At Lonzo on Word. Or you can hit up the entire station at The Fan Upstate on Twitter. We would appreciate a follow from each and every one of you. And I will also tell you that if you follow and interact with me, I will follow you back. So if you hit me up with a follow on Twitter and you start a couple of conversations with me, I will give you the old follow back.
Hey, Rob, yesterday we had a ton of people trying to win those Furman basketball tickets. We got some more for you
Turns
today.
out we have 4 more for you today.
Not right now.
Not right now. And 4 more for you tomorrow. And 4 more for you on Friday. Also, before we get going, I want to send a very happy birthday to my man Skrilla. You guys might know him as Josh, but DJ Skrilla in the hizzy. He is the official DJ for the Greenville Triumph tailgate parties, which is the DJ to be. My dude turned 40 today. Hitting the big. He's a man. He's 40. Happy birthday, Skrilla. I'm glad you made it, buddy.
Which I still yell at people who can't do the speed limit,
100%.
Especially on Miller Road. I mean, you just went by the sign. It's 40. Be a man.
Is I'm a man, I'm 40, like top 5 all-time college football catchphrases?
Definitely for sports fans, for sure.
Saban's, they ran through us like boat through a tin horn is great to me. That's iconic. But I'm a man, I'm 40, I think is going to go down as an all-timer. No doubt. All right. Happy birthday, Skrilla.
I will tell you 40 and 50, not much of a difference. So, you're
20
you're
and
good.
30 was a massive difference. I am a little over a couple of years away from 40. And I feel like there's definitely a difference between 30 and 40. I think after 40, you're just old, right? Like it's just all birthdays at that point.
No, you're not just old. I may call myself old and stuff. I don't feel old. Well, the bones are a little creaky, but
There it is.
but that's because of sports injuries.
Fair enough.
You should take care of yourself when you're younger because you're going to feel it when you get older. But other than that, I mean, some would say you're still doing the same stuff you were doing 20 years ago. You know why I am?
Because I'm fun and I'm good at it.
Good, because first of all, it's my job, and I like it.
And I'm good
So
at it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think that goes without saying.
Frank Reich was introduced yesterday as the new head coach of your Carolina Panthers, ladies and gentlemen. And before I get to some sound, I want to tell you what I noticed right out of the gate. First thing that happened, Frank Reich gets introduced to the podium by David Tepper, by the owner. And he calls Frank Reich up, gives him the whole speech, welcomes him to the podium. Frank Reich stands up, and you know what Frank Reich did? And in this, again, it's a little thing, but it caught my attention. Most of us, if we get called to a podium, are standing up and going to the podium. Frank Reich, instead of walking straight to the podium, made a detour over to his right where he shook the hand of every single current Carolina player who came to his introductory press conference, of which there were a handful, a couple of starters, handful of starters, a couple of reserve guys, came to his presser. Frank Reich stood up, walked over to them, and shook every single hand of every current player that came out to his introductory presser. I thought that was a cool move. And it lined up with some things that he said. I'm going to start with clip 2A, if you don't mind here, Lonzo. Asked about what the structure of the team looks like for Frank Reich. What is the structure? What does the command structure look like on his team? I thought Frank Reich gave 2 very interesting answers. 2A is the first one where he said, look, the players are a part of this process too.
The difference between winning and losing, it's in the margins. It's in the details. It's one player at a time. It's one play at a time. It's one detail at a time. It's about focusing on getting it right, not who is right, not being right. We're going to get it right together. It's not a one-man show. You will see that as a coach and as a coaching staff, we will collaborate. We will collaborate with ownership, with Scott Fitter, the GM, with Christy Coleman, the president, the whole crew, we will collaborate together to create a championship caliber organization. And we will collaborate with the players, coaches and players together. This is a player's game. If there's one thing I know being in this business as a player and coach for 30 years, this is a player's game. They're the stars, right? But we do it together as a team. There are no shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. It's all about the process. It's all about the people. And so we're just going to focus on progress, getting better every day.
I have over the years been around a lot of successful football coaches. I've been around a lot of bad football coaches at every level, high school, college, pro. I will tell you one thing that I've noticed over the years. One thing I've noticed over the years is that there is one word that has been a common denominator between all the good ones. And that word is details, right? Nick Saban, when I've heard him give speeches, when I've interviewed him in the past, very constantly hits on the word details. Dabo Swinney is very constantly hit on the word details. But there's also something else about them. One of the other things that you have heard is, I want the players to have a voice. I want to give the players a voice. Now, whether they say that out loud or not, you see it, right? Nick Saban has a nickname amongst the media, the Nick Tater, right? Because Nick Saban is a tough guy to work with. But he's not a tough guy to work for. I have talked to former Alabama players. I went to high school with DJ Hall. DJ Hall, back in 04 through 07, 08, for a while there, owned a lot of Alabama's wide receiver records. I've spoken with DJ a number of times since his career at Alabama ended and he went to the league. And one thing that DJ harped on many times to me was the fact that when something was going on with the football program, Saban would constantly ask the players for input, right? About everything. Charter flights. Hey, would you guys prefer this or that? When it came to the buses, would you guys prefer this or that? When it came to pretty much everything with the exception of the game plan and the uniforms, would you guys prefer this or that? What do you want? Detail-oriented, but gave the players a voice. You just heard that out of Frank Reich, right? He said there's two things here. Number one, we got to be detail-oriented. Every game, winning comes down to individual details. One player, one play, win it. Win that detail. You do enough of that, you win the game. And I want the players to feel like they are part of this collaboration. But later on, I'm going to go to clip 2M here, Alonzo. Later on, Frank Reich was pressed on that a little bit. It's like, there's a thought going around that players maybe get too much power. Players start to turn into divas. They start to take control of the program. How do you plan on handling that? And Frank Reich responded this way.
Listen, this isn't we're going to collaborate, but it's not a democracy. It can't be. It doesn't work well like that, okay? The players are going to feel that I will love and respect them, and the coaches will love and respect them. And they've all had a lot of great coaches and players that I'm sure have coaches that have done that. But they're going to feel my love and respect for them. And they're going to feel that we will listen. We will listen to what they have to say. But there has to be a chain of command. The coaches have to be in charge. It's about the players, but the players can't run the ship. It just doesn't work like that. That works for a very short time. If you want to have sustained success, it has to be the right kind of leadership from the coach, the GM, and the owner. And the players are going to drive the ship, but they're not running the ship.
One piece of advice to Frank Reich: say boat. All right, say boat. But that's another discussion for another time.
His emphasis on the P was pronounced. So I'm
just friendly advice.
Yeah.
No particular reason. Friendly advice. Look, and again, I think that's the other aspect of it, right? Like on one end of the spectrum, you got a guy like Belichick. Belichick's known for being friendly with the players, but at the end of the day, it's Bill Belichick that makes every decision. And I think you got to have a little bit of that. Nick Saban, same story. He's going to ask the players' input, but when it comes down to writing down what's going to happen, He's going to take all the input, and then he's going to make the decision he thinks is best for the team. You got to have that too. Leadership is very much about doing, not saying. Saying is one thing, doing's another. And I think Frank's saying, look, getting up, shaking the hand of every player that's there, making a room full of media members wait on him. I know you got questions. I know you want to hear what I have to say, but these are the dudes. These are the most important guys in the room. These are the stars. These are the guys who sell the tickets. My job is to set them up for success, and I will make the decisions to do that. But that sounded good. It sounded good. I liked it. Frank Reich went on during the actual introduction part to give 4 pillars and 3 principles that he lives by. I'm going to play clip, Lonzo's going to play clip 2B first. Frank kind of came out of left field to discuss the 4 pillars of what he believes make a championship program. And here's what he said.
It takes 4 pillars to do that, right? If you're going to build that championship caliber team, it takes 4 pillars. It's ownership and the organization. I was telling a bunch of people earlier, through the interview process to get to know Mr. Tepper and Nicole was very dynamic, to see and hear and feel their vision, but also to feel the conversation that we had, the partnership that you could start to feel as we went through the interview process. That's a big deal. And of course, it's not just the ownership, it's the whole organization. For me to get a chance, the most important relationship is really with Scott Fitter, the GM, head coach and GM. You know, we got to be like this. We're together every day. We got to, along with Mr. Tepper, come up with the blueprint of what this team is going to look like and who we're going to be. So really excited to work with Scott. Class act. We're going to fit together perfect as I'm getting to know him. His expertise is going to be a great asset to me and to our team. And so looking forward to that partnership. And of course, with Dan Morgan as assistant, I go back a little bit with him and Samir and then even working with Nicole on the business side and Christy Coleman on the business side. For us, that's a very important part of it as well. So it's about ownership. It's about the players. That's the second pillar. The first is the ownership. You got to have the right ownership to get championships. You got to have the right players. I'm really excited about the roster that we have and the roster that we're going to continue to build. This is what it's all about for me. It's about the relationship and the connection with the players. We give trust to each other right away, but then we continue to gain trust in each other as we work through and go through this journey together. And then it's about the coaches. One of the things that Mr. Tepper made clear is we're going to get the best of the best. He's willing to help support that effort, to get so that we get the best, not only the best, but the best for our team. So we have the right mix of coaches. And we will have a great coaching staff. And then lastly, that 4th pillar, it's about the fans. I mean, we're at that time of year. There's nothing like seeing a football stadium rocking. When a team is having success and when we're giving the community reasons to be excited about, it'll be a special time to be in that stadium and to be walking around the city wearing the Panthers logo.
So Frank Reich said there's 4 pillars. You heard it there. It's leadership, it's players, it's coaches, it's fans. And I'm really glad that he tacked the fans on at the end, right? Like one of the problems I've had with Carolina, I think Carolina, when they became the Carolina Panthers, when they started this franchise, I thought Carolina did a great job. I think calling itself the Carolina Panthers instead of Charlotte or the North Carolina Panthers, I think was a phenomenal plan, right? You are now opening up 2 states instead of 1. I think putting it at a place while Charlotte is over to the west side of the Carolinas, putting it in Charlotte was the correct decision. I think using the outline of both states to create the Panther head logo was a great decision. I think they did a great job, but I think over the years, as I have mentioned, and part of this comes from business decisions. But as I've mentioned over the years, one of the problems that I've had is that the Carolina fan base has very much morphed into, in my opinion, a wine and cheese fan base, right? It is a fan base that has, sure, a lot of guys like Rashad Beard, guys that are diehards, guys that are at every game, guys that care, that have passion. But I've been to a couple of Panthers games, And a lot of the crowd, especially the folks who you want spending the money and influence boosting the team up, are social fans, right? I'm here to show that I have season tickets. I'm here to see and be seen. I don't really care about the game. I'm not invested in the team. I'm not screaming. I'm not yelling. I'm not increasing the atmosphere, the volume of the stadium. I'm here because me and my friends have season tickets, and it's a good way for us to hang out for a couple of hours on a Sunday. And I wish all these clowns behind me would stop yelling defense all the time. I'm trying to enjoy the game. Frank Reich making sure that the fans got their shout out, I think, is a good thing. It's a good thing because that is something that has been sorely lacking. Late in the year, Carolina has a couple of good games, back in playoff contention. All of a sudden, the bank kind of looks like a real football stadium. Lose to Tampa, support falls off again. Carolina, like many other NFL teams, like most other NFL teams, step one to getting fans in the building, Lonzo, is what?
Winning.
Yeah.
I've been there in a full stadium in all different spots of that stadium. And when the stadium is moving and you can physically feel it moving, then you know that you've got a good crowd and they're there to see the game.
Frank Reich's going to try to build that back up. So I respected the shout out there. James said transplants along with fans selling their tickets to opposing fans so half the stadium is green or purple. And yeah, that's a problem. But I'll tell you when fans don't sell their tickets. When you're winning, right? When your football team is putting up 5-win seasons, why am I going to invest in that? If I can recoup my $1.75 I spent for this ticket and I can stay home, watch my team lose on the 60-inch and get my money back, I don't care. $160 that I get off a Packers fan is the same $160 I'd have got if I sold it to a Carolina fan. But if the team is 11-6, 12-5, in charge of the division, now I'm willing to put that $175 and 3.5, 4, 5, 6 hours of my life into going to a football game.
Yeah, check out the pics and video of the couple Super Bowl runs. You're not going to see empty seats in there. It was a lot of fun.
Ryan said, as for coaches, always sounds like they all read from the same PR playbook, say process, details, and trust over and over, and never go into specifics. Well, I'm glad that you asked about that because one thing I was disappointed about was the lack of specifics that Frank Reich was willing to get into. Let me start with clip 2D, and then I'll move on from there. Clip 2D, Frank Reich was asked about the current construction of the roster, what he likes, and what he thinks needs to be better. And this is how he answered that question.
I think the defense has been obviously a real strong suit, been top level defense, but we're always looking to get better. To be honest, here's what a top 5 defense gives you an opportunity to do. Top 10 defense is going to give you a chance in every game, but a top 5 defense is what really can elevate you as a team, that you can not only be in every game, but you can find a way to win every game when you got a top 5 defense. So we understand we're in a league that is, offensively driven in many ways, but kind of the secret sauce is create and build upon the momentum that we have here, the players, the roster that we have here on defense, get the right coaches so we have the right scheme that accentuate their gifts. I'm not going to go through player by player. Scott and I have sat down, started to talk about that. There's still a whole lot more study that needs to go, but obviously that stands out. And then offensively was really encouraged as I watched kind of the second half of the season and dig into the tape a little bit. There's so much to build on. The offensive line, the running game. We got receivers that can get vertical down the field. The running backs were strong. Foreman looked strong at the end of the year. That's going to be really important for us to get the ball vertically down the field, continue to build this roster so that we improve in all 3 phases, which of course also brings you to special teams, which we're top-ranked special teams. This past year, and we look forward. That's an essential part of a championship caliber football team.
So when asked what he likes and what he doesn't, he gives all the things he likes. We got a good defense. We got a good offensive line. We got a good running game, but he does not say, I would like to address this. I would like to address that. I think this needs to get better. It was, hey, the offense is good. The defense is good. The special teams is good.
Come on. I think you're nitpicking a little bit.
Yes.
Because
It can't be all sunshine and
because
rainbows.
all the things that we've talked about all season long that are the strong points, he's saying they know those are the strong points. It's not like he's going, well, we need to be a passing team. He did say you need to throw the ball down the field, but yeah, you do. But he did point out how good the offensive line is and how good the running game is. Same with the defense and special teams. Didn't mention the quarterback because we all know they ain't got one.
So
I was okay with what he said there.
Again, if
And plus, you don't have coordinators yet. You don't know what this team's going to look like. But for the most part, he's saying, I think what he's saying, that offensive line is going to be back. Dante Foreman's going to be back. I think, and the defense is going to be back. So I think it's also a message to certain players and people in the team. Hey, you're coming back.
here's the take on it, right? It's kind of like this show. His press conference to me is kind of like this show, or it should be. This show is fun, loosey-goosey. We do fun stuff, right? It's not all serious. It's not all conflict to me. We can have conflict over, is Tom Brady attractive? LOL. And it's fun and it's goofy.
Yeah, especially since only one person in this, room
Correct.
thinks that. So,
but that doesn't mean, even though you want to have fun and enjoy stuff, that there aren't times when you have to compartmentalize that and address something that is not fun and not comfortable, right? To me, to come in and do what Frank Reich did and get asked the question about a 7-10 football team, hey, what needs to get better? And go, yeah, I don't want to talk about that. Let's just talk about the good stuff. It's like, Coach, your job is to you don't have to fix good stuff, right? Lonzo and I've had this conversation before. Carolina wins the game. I come in the next day. I'm like, all right, here are the things that went wrong. Lonzo's like, why can't you focus on the win? Because the things that got you the win are already fixed. They're already good. You don't go, when your car gets a flat tire, you don't go downstairs and shine the mirrors. The mirrors are working fine. Fix the problem. Get the thing running to max efficiency. I genuinely wanted to hear what the problems Frank Reich thought were with this program and how he wants to fix them. I don't need to know the offensive line's good. I know. I don't need to know the defense is good. I know. I don't need to know the kicking unit's good. I know all of these things. I want to know what you think is wrong and how you're going to fix it.
You know what else you know? You know all the things that are wrong with the team. You already know all that.
So address how you're going to fix it. You're the coach.
So you want him to come in and be negative while the fans are going, fans are going, okay, we've got a guy in here who wants to win and everything. He's not, there's time for negativity later.
No, you're missing. No. That's not negative, Lonzo.
You and I, as you pointed out, we come at things from a different angle. I think you can have a mix of both, talk about the good stuff and talk about the bad stuff. But in an introductory press conference, I don't think you have to go into major detail about this needs fixed, this guy sucks, we're getting rid of this guy, all this. You don't need all that. That's going to be taken care of when you get your coordinators, you get your coaching staff in place, and you start. He talked about that they're evaluating players right now, and we're going to see some guys go elsewhere, and we're going to see some guys stay. But I don't think you have to throw negativity in for it to be a good press conference.
See, and I don't see, here's the problems and here's my plan to fix them as negative, right? Like if we, again, I've used this metaphor before. If we get off the show, let's say we have a great show today and we get done with the show and I go downstairs and my tires flat.
Wait a minute.
And I go,
what's this if stuff?
Okay, when we get done with our stellar show, as they all are, if we get done with our stellar show and you and I walk out to the parking lot to leave and my tire's flat and I go, crap, I got to fix this tire. And you hit me with, why are you being so negative right now? I'm not. This is a problem that needs to be fixed.
That's not what I would say. I would say, let me give you a hand, Rob.
Great. You would tell me how to fix the problem. That's exactly what I'm asking for.
Well, I think you know how to change a tire, but I'd be giving you a hand. I would be positive in a negative situation.
Point is, there are problems, and I think they need to be addressed. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, the other question we wanted to know is the quarterback. Frank Reich was asked, what type of quarterback, if you could have anyone you wanted, would you go with? And he gave, I genuinely think, maybe the best answer of the day. I'll give you that and a couple more clips from that intro presser yesterday here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
I want to know what's wrong. I want the coach to come in and go, you're a horrible player.
No.
We're going to replace you. You're not good at your job. We're going to replace you. I
want a coach to come in.
There are things that can be taken care of outside of a press conference.
Right. But the point of a press conference is to have an open line of communication with the fans and the media, right? Here's the thing. Would you accept if you got, let's say the Chiefs lose a game, like a playoff game, and Andy Reid goes into the podium and the conversation is, hey, coach, tough loss today. Can you tell me what you think went wrong in this? And Andy Reid went, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be negative. I want to talk about the positive. Patrick Mahomes was great, wasn't he? Like, don't you want to know what his view of the problem was and what his solution is to it? Or are you in camp, I'm just happy to be here? Because I never live in camp. I'm just happy to be here.
I think you're reading too much into it.
I'm not. I'm asking for the guy in charge of fixing the problems, of which there are many, to address how he's going to fix the problems. Not to do 30 minutes of, I'm just happy to be here.
Because you've been there long enough to know exactly every single problem.
No, but I think he's been there long enough that he had better know the direction moving in. If after a couple of days in an entire interview process, which I guarantee you in the interview process, David Tepper said, what would you say are the 3 or 4 biggest challenges facing the football program today? And he had to identify them. If during the interview process and the 2 days you've been head coach, you can't tell me what the one biggest problem with this team is and how you're going to fix it, then no, I don't trust you as a coach.
You're not going to bring down my Tom Brady retired celebration no matter how much you try with your negativity.
Be back grabbing a drink, guys. Don't go anywhere.
Ain't nobody crying, Ryan. If I was crying, it's ugly. It's like, those ugly criers? That's me. So if I was crying, you'd be like, I can't. No, I mean, there's like snot involved. It's bad. And yes, I almost tripped, but thanks to my cat-like reflexes.
Bum, 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 bum. Bum, bum, ba, ba, da, da. Do, 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 do.
Somebody being condescending. Just saying.
Condescending.
Condescending up in here. You want me to be a yes boy? I could do that. You're absolutely right, Rob Brown. I half expected to look out and see that you had a flat tire.
Somebody said this is probably just a viral marketing stunt for the 80 for Brady movie. He'll make his unretirement announcement during an ad during the Super Bowl. If you enjoy that movie, you'll have one more chance to see me win a Super Bowl.
Like Michael Jordan at the end of Space Jam. You know, for everyone like you and Ryan that want to hear something else, tell us what you want them to say specifically.
I just did. You told me I was negative.
Exactly. No. You weren't specific enough. I want to hear about players. I want to hear about every little detail.
But I'm not the head coach. It's not my job to say what's wrong. It's his.
Well, the whole thing is, if you know what you want to hear,
I don't know what I want to hear. I do know. I want to hear what's wrong with this team and how you're going to fix it.
All right, tell us what's wrong with this team and how you think you should fix it.
That part's not my job.
Right.
Why would the guy asking questions of the coach?
I'm not going to walk up to the plumber and go, "How are you fixing that? Your job is to fix it. Thank you."
Right, but I would ask the plumber, "What's wrong with my toilet, and how are you going to fix it?"
Yeah, that's how I wouldn't have went there.
All right, we're still on this. Listen, if my toilet is jacked up to the point that I can't fix it because I don't know what's wrong with it.
Burritos.
Do like me some Taco Bell. If I don't know what's wrong with my crapper, and I called John the plumber.
Let's just call it a turlet, okay?
Turlet. If something's jacked with my turlet, and I don't know how to fix the turlet, and over comes John the plumber, and he walks in, and I go, "John, what's wrong? What's wrong with my turlet?" And he goes, "This bathroom's absolutely beautiful. The sink works incredibly well. Your shower is phenomenal. I love the choice of shower curtain. I think it brings a nice pull together of the wallpaper in the room. The mirror, gosh, just spotless. You must use Windex all the time." I would go, "John, thanks, but what's wrong with my turlet?"
He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't say anything because he wants his turlet fixed. But the other thing is, while Rob is seething over the fact that he's complimenting the rest of his restroom, John the plumber has already fixed the problem.
Great. Has Frank Reich already fixed the problem?
Maybe.
No.
We don't know.
He's been the coach for 2 days.
We don't. Well, you expect him to know everything. So if he knows all the problems, and he should be telling us all the problems and breaking down in the press conference, all right, let's go player by player and tell you whether they're going to be on this team or not. And so I don't know what you asked for. That's the whole point. Right. What do you want?
I would love for, if I ever have to find another job, my interviewer to be like Lonzo. Where it's like, what challenges do you think the company's going to face over the next couple of years? And my response is, yeah, I don't really want to talk about that. Instead, I'd like to talk about how amazing everything is. And they go, "Oh, yes, tell us how great things are." No, that's not how it works. The head coach is brought in to fix what's wrong to make things better.
Hey,
if
Rob.
I ask John what's wrong with my turlet and he compliments my shower, that doesn't fix the problem. I didn't bring the shower's fine. I don't need you to fix it. I need you to fix the turlet. And what I don't need is for the plumber to look at me and go, "Well, what do you think the problems are?" I don't know. That's why I called you, John.
You and I both have interviewed people for jobs. And I'm not talking, we've been through both processes. I've interviewed people to come and work at this fine establishment. If they came in with a dark cloud like what you're talking about and how that person gets a strike against them. I need a mix of both. But you're begging for something, but you're not telling me what it is. I need to know exactly what you want him to do.
I want him to tell me what he thinks the problems are with the team.
In what way? All right. In what way?
The same way.
No.
John, what's wrong with my turlet?
You know
can't give him an answer because I'm not a plumber.
You know what John would do? John would be specific. So what you're wanting, he would say it has to do with pipes. It has to do with your septic tank or your sewer or something like that. Okay, so what you want is you want Frank Reich to talk about individual players. That's what you're asking for.
No.
Well, John just talked about individual parts on the toilet. So you want individual parts. You want players.
Frank Reich could, in that press conference, go, "All right, here's where I think the team came up short last year. I think the vertical pass game wasn't quite the threat that it should have been with the weapons that we have on the outside. We are going to address that by coming up with a new scheme that will include DJ Moore's ability to get down the football field, because I feel like we could have included that more. I think that in the run game, we probably leaned a little heavy on the power run, didn't take advantage of the speed that we have, like in a guy like Chuba Hubbard who can get to the outside. I think we'll probably be taking a look at some of our blocking schemes to see if there are ways that we can stretch the defense laterally with the run game, not just run into their teeth all the time.
So you're talking about how what the old coaches did. These are new coaches. When you came in here, Rob, when you came into this job, did you know everything that I do? Did you? No. We had to work together a little bit before you could figure out the nuances of my personality and how ours mesh. It's the same with the head coach. He doesn't have his assistant coaches together yet. He doesn't know what players are going to be there, what are going to be gone, doesn't know if he's getting people in free agency, doesn't know who he's going to draft, where they're going to be in the draft order. Are they moving up? All those kind of things. You don't know the parts. You can look at how someone else used the parts, but that doesn't mean maybe someone else used the parts because that's all those parts were capable
Frank Reich
of.
Doesn't know this roster or what this team did last year. He ain't a good
You
head coach.
you just didn't hear anything I
No,
said.
I did.
Yeah,
I'm disagreeing with
I
what you said.
can look at video and everything, but I don't know the individual. I need to work with the individual myself to find out. Okay,
I just
that
gave
guy
you answers that did not mention individuals.
that guy didn't get this out of him, but I can because I understand him because now I've spent a little time with him and I know what he can do. So you can look at film and go, okay, he did this, this, and this. It doesn't mean that they're not capable of doing more.
Do you think Frank Reich knows what DJ Moore's capable of at this point?
No.
You don't.
I do not.
Then he should never
I do
be
not.
hired.
I don't think any coach can walk in without spending some time with the players, watching them in drills, watching them in things to learn what they can get. Because what you're looking at, you're letting the film say everything. So how the last coach used them, that's all they can do. Obviously.
Right.
That's all they can do. But it's not.
So
I walk in and go, okay, Steve Wilkes had no idea what he was doing with this. Why didn't he do this with him? I see he's capable of this.
Say that, right?
You can't until you spend time with them on the field. You cannot look at film and know everything about every individual person until you sit down and you work with them yourself.
I just gave you an answer of two problems with the team. I ain't a coach. I ain't a head coach. I'm nothing more than some know-nothing.
So you want him to say what you want to hear,
no.
not what he.
No, I don't need him to say, well, Rob Brown thinks this. What I need him to say is, what do you think of the – here, I'll give you the example. I'll use your metaphor. When I got the first call for this job, Rob, we're interested. Can you come up here and do a live audition with us? And I said, hell yeah, I'll be there Monday, right? You know what I did for the next 4 days between that call and the drive up for the audition? I listened to every show on this station. I listened to you guys live around the clock in every single day part. I knew the local personalities that were on at the time. I knew the syndicated lineup that was on at the time. I knew the teams. I learned about the teams in the area because part of me has always been, I want a very close relationship with the teams in our neighborhood. I think I've done that. I've NC'd stuff for Furman. I work for the Bits. I do stuff with the Triumph, with the Drive, with South Carolina, who we had Shane Beamer on yesterday.
Which is a great interview. You should check it out.
Should.
Go online.
TheFanUpstate.com. Click the podcast button, drop it down to the Rob Brown Show, and download yesterday's interview with Shane Beamer. It was a lot of fun. Lonzo asked him about his sunglasses. It was great. When I got here that next Sunday night, and I came in, and I did the show from noon to 3, when I got done, the boss called me down to the office to go chat. And I sat down with him for 2 or 3 hours. And he said, what would you say are some of the things that we can do better? And what are some of the things that you bring to the table to address that? And my answers were, and I can still tell you what they were. My answers were, I have not heard anything about the local sports teams on this network at all, period. I've heard nothing about them. I know for a fact that the Greenville Triumph, who are new, are very good. I know for a fact that the Greenville Drive are exceptionally popular. I know for a fact what Furman's been able to do because I've been seeing Furman pop up on my TV screen as a fan for a number of years. I know you've got a hockey team. I come from a hockey background working for the Ice Flyers down here in Pensacola. I know how to work with them. I heard nothing about the local teams over the last 4 or 5 days I've been listening. I would fix that immediately. Number 2, and I gave a couple of things that I said, these are things that I think, in my opinion, are deficiencies on the station. And these are the things I would do to address those with my time, my airways, my additional effort on the show. I was also able to say, here are the things that you have going on that I think are good and highlight those, right? I think Mark Ryan creates one of the most compelling radio shows in the Southeast. I think that Diesel has an incredibly unique perspective because you never get small college football guys who get into the big market conversation on stations like this. It's always Clemson, USC. But I think to have a guy like Diesel in there that can address ECU and South Carolina State and Appy State is a huge benefit because it expands the conversation. I was able to give things that went wrong that I think I can address by showing up, and also things that went right. I have no problem with Frank Reich saying the thing he likes about the program, but those are things we all think are good about the program. What I need is what went wrong last year? Why didn't we make the playoffs last year? In your opinion, right? In your opinion. I want his opinion on that. That was it. Nothing more.
Sounds more like you want your opinion, but you want him to give your opinion.
No, I want him to give his opinion.
So far, I haven't had any problems with the press conference at all. I think he's done a really good job. We'll see if he can actually coach.
All right, let's go to clip 2L real quick. Last one I'll play, and then we'll take a break. Frank, because this one's interesting and compelling, and I want your thoughts on it on the backside. 71307. Start your text with fam. We're reading it on the air. Frank Reich was asked, what's his preference for style of quarterback? Very interesting answer.
We all know where the game's going, right? And we all know the game is going to, a more movement style quarterback. I embrace that. I love that. And we worked with some, in Philadelphia, had worked with Carson Wentz, and we did a lot of good things. Got a lot of good things with movement, RPOs, play action, all that stuff. Same thing in the years in Indy. We had some drop back, some movement guys. And so ultimately we can adapt to whatever. But where the game is going, and most of the guys coming out in college have more movement. So, right, that has some advantages. The defensive players will tell you when that quarterback is back there and he has a threat to run. You watch Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, which our offenses are very similar just because of our connection with Nick Sirianni and so on and so forth. And the quarterback's running his own read and he's a threat to run. It just puts the defense in conflict, right? Slows the backside down. We have a saying that we'll say on offense: front side wins games, backside wins championships. Front side wins games, backside wins championships. Okay, well, if the backside wins championships, and if I got a quarterback who can run and he's making that defensive end hold his water, or making the linebacker hold the water at the second level, it's just going to give my guys more room on the front side. It's going to put the offensive lineman in a position to have better leverage. So if you got that guy, that's the game you play, and you put it to the player's advantage. But at some level, even those guys, and Mr. Tepper and Scott and I talked about this, you got to have a guy that can win from the pocket. We're not going to drop back. If we have one of those guys, we won't drop back 50 times, but you got to drop back 10 times. It's 3rd and 10, and the game is on the line. You probably are playing from the pocket. So we can develop that as well. You want to be able to understand who you're drafting or understand who you're acquiring, continue to develop them as a player. We can all get better. I can be better as a coach. They can become better as a player, whether we're signing a guy or drafting a guy. But ultimately, that's the challenge, and that's the excitement of it.
Front side wins games, backside wins championships.
It's not your beauty, it's your booty.
The best part of that quote was I kept waiting for that line to drop to see if Lonzo would laugh at it, and he sure as hell did. Front side wins games, backside wins championships. Amazing quote from Frank Reich. But I also love the fact that he said, hey, look, we know where the game's going. Got to have mobile quarterbacks.
I wish it's all about that bass was playing in the background when he was talking.
QB got low. Okay, all right, let's take a break. Let's not do that. My man Nikon, DJ for the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, says, does that make the players on the team the crap that's clogging up the toilets? Excellent job, Nikon. Excellent job. Let's take a break. We'll come back, wrap up this hour of the show. Then we'll get to not that on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Dude, what are you doing? Why do you keep going late? Oh man, you know that guy who says we never talk about Clemson basketball? Where's he at? Where's that dude at? I mean,
I am laughing because it is written on the prep sheet.
We've went almost 2 hours and haven't talked Clemson basketball yet. What are you doing, Rob?
I know. I'm just a hater.
We'll just blame Tom Brady.
Texter said Lonzo is right. Rob is doo-doo.
Did they actually spell it out as doo-doo?
Yeah.
Okay.
D-O-O-D-O-O.
Is doo-doo spelled with
2 O's, yeah.
Is it? Okay. I've never actually spelled it before. So. Apparently you have, so.
Yes, Ryan, I am very aware that college football is king in this area, and that NFL is a mediocre distant second. But this is a sports show that does all the sports because we're talented like
all
that.
of them. All them sports. Every single one of them. Someday we're going to talk snooker.
Snooker. Disrespect the great athletes of the sport of snooker.
Hey,
Is snooker one that has the little bumpers on the pool table?
Yeah, I was going to say I don't have those skills. I sharked a little bit back in the day, but just because of push-ups had to do it. It was a fraternity.
I suck at pool. It is one of the few things that I am fine to admit. I am terrible at pool.
Well, now you know what to do if you see Rob in the bar. Challenge him to some pool, unless he's sharking right now, which he absolutely could be. Because if you're a shark, you're making people think that you're not a shark. That's how the sharking works. Yeah, the chess scandals, don't bring that back up because the chess scandal, that just gives you some heebies.
I'll tell you right now, if you challenge me to a game of pool, I will say no. It's not that I'm sharking you. I would just straight up say no.
That's what a shark would do.
They would say no to playing a game. Playing pool is rule one. It's the first step of sharking. Also, I have to tell you, you've made it because I've just been informed that my nephew Lou on the way to work was practicing his ABCs and picking words for each letter. So A is for apple, B is for Nana, but Nana, B is for banana. He got to L, and he said that L is for Mr. Lonzo.
Dude.
So you've made it.
Lou.
You've made it to. He didn't even go with his own name. Lonzo, breakout Lucille. Greatest moment from that entire series, and that series was filled with great moments. Uncle Phil pool sharking was an incredible moment.
So
Jeffrey, breakout Lucy.
In our fraternity, when you played inactive, when you're a pledge, however many balls are left on the table, you have to do 10 times that amount of push-ups.
Unless you win.
Oh, no. You don't win.
You don't win.
No.
You just try to only lose by one.
That's a mistake, which is what I did. Until after I became inactive. And then just the looks on their faces like, you sharked us all. I mean, I'm not great, but like anything, when you're playing every day, which we had to do, you get better at it. So the real sharks, they carry that bag in there. They pull out the thing, they put it together. Did you see what I sent you earlier? If you're going to come in, you got like 30 seconds.
Hi. Ron, how you doing?
Hey.
Rob. Hey, Ron. Hey, that's Rob.
Hi.
Nice to meet you guys.
So they're live on the air right now. Their show
We're also live on stream right now, so
Yeah,
you guys
so
are on
you can
stream.
just say hi
So,
to
yeah,
Everybody
yes.
watching.
Okay.
Welcome. Great to meet you guys. I hope we'll chat away from this one day.
This is my personal favorite studio. It's the most fun. It has the best view and it actually stays.
It's because of me. It's because of me. Rounding out the second hour of the Rob Brown Show. Robin Lonzo with you. Thank you very much for being a part of it and spending your AMs with us. We appreciate it. 844-326-3663 is the phone number. Text us 71307. Start that text with fan. We'll read them on the air. Let me get one last relatively short clip from Frank Reich here. It's a short clip, I think, 2E, because this is one thing that I did want to know. Frank Reich has called plays. He has also allowed offensive coordinators to call plays. Who's going to call the plays in the Carolinas? Frank Reich gave the best possible answer.
As far as calling plays, I'm going to wait to see that we get the offensive staff together. Obviously, I've always enjoyed doing that. Felt like I've had a good bit of success doing that and enjoy doing that. It feels to me there's a little bit of a trend going away from that. I want to continue to re-examine that, and it just depends on how the staff comes together and the coordinator thing. I'm excited about the prospects of some of the guys that are out there that could be our offensive coordinator. So I'll wait to make the final decision on that.
Good enough for me.
Wow, what a non-answer. I can't believe Rob Brown is enjoying what we just heard. He wasn't specific about it. Who's going to be calling the plays, who the coach is. I want to know all the details.
So Lonzo's decided we got 30 seconds till break and he's going to pick a fight. Listen, I'm good with this
I still
answer.
can't do it. It hurts.
Because this answer is rooted in a space of I don't have that information yet. Frank Reich does.
Which is what I said for like 30 minutes.
Right. But you said that about something he does have the information for.
He doesn't.
If he doesn't know what he would change about how the team was run last year, that's not good.
That's not what I said, by the way. That's not what
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, what I said is he doesn't know the players to know who he's going to keep.
You can,
to know
answer that question without having to know the players. What went wrong for the Panthers last year?
Yeah, they lost.
Right. Why?
As
a football coach, you should know why.
Poor coaching.
Right. What?
Inconsistency.
Right. But why?
Yeah.
Like, what was the deal? Right?
Yeah, but we all know this. Anyone who pulls for the Panthers or anyone who's like has sports knowledge at all can go, hey, you know what's wrong with that? They ran the ball a bunch last game. Why ain't they running this game? Huh?
So say that. Right?
So
say that. All of
hey,
that.
Rob, the sun is in the sky. The sky is blue. The grass is kind of green. It is winter.
Kind of green. I like that answer from Frank Reich. Hey, if we get a guy I trust to play call, he'll play call. If I don't, I'll do it. I'm glad he took that stance. All right. Climatology with Lonzo resumes shortly after this. You're listening to The Rob Brown Show. You're listening to The Fan Upstate.
Climatology, does that have to do with chemtrails? I know all about them.
Chemtrails. What's the audio? Have you listened to the audio yet from that clip that you sent me?
No, but there's an F-bomb in there.
Okay.
So yeah.
That's why I was asking.
I mean, if you look, they have the words on the bottom of it.
I gotcha.
Yeah, so you can. But it's jabroni centric. Yeah, Travis is not gonna. He's not gonna stop on the jabroni thing. And at the beginning of the clip, it shows a picture of the mayor.
Does it?
Yes.
So he must have
I think the mayor responded.
given a reasonable LOL response. Which is the correct way to handle that.
Who knows?
Right?
Because we're doing a show, I didn't have time to really look at it. Maybe he tagged himself as Mayor Jabroni, which would be a good sport.
You have to handle it that way.
Yeah, you do.
You don't have any other options. You have to handle that by accepting that you are Mayor Jabroni now?
Of course, I would call myself Mayor Jabroni, and I would throw another wrestling quote in there somehow. I don't know. Why did they stop saying have a take and don't suck? Can you just not say that anymore?
I don't know. I noticed that.
Yeah,
Is that relatively recent?
no, I've heard this for a
Okay.
little while since we started carrying it. And I mean, I thought it was very obvious. As I was told in front of a
Live studio audience.
location that I need to take advice from Jim Rome and have a take and not
And
suck.
don't suck.
And immediately I asked to be taken off that show, and I was told, yeah, you do suck, but it's like, okay. And then is when I started being me, and they didn't. Well, the host at the co-host was very unhappy with me being me.
How dare you, sir?
I will tell you, it was very entertaining. At least I thought.
Have a take, don't suck.
One of the things I was told, you can't tell them I'm not from here. It's like, dude, they know you're not from here. Since I have a Greenvillian accent, apparently now,
Greenvillian.
according to that one.
You're a green villain.
Yeah. Oh, I am. No. I'm not a green villain. I am the villain.
You'll remember that I asked for one thing about my life not to be disclosed after I got here.
Yes, I remember.
And it was disclosed yesterday multiple times.
I've had every opportunity to do that, and I did not. So. Yeah, I remember that too, Kevin. That was, I think at the time, the biggest comeback of all time. Still may be.
Rob is when I'll show and not move the banner. Do you think? Yeah, because I lined it up before the show
You
started.
know why, Steven? Because Shane Beamer ain't on today. That's why. That's why.
Hey, you and I both thought that yesterday had the potential to be one of, if not the single most important segment we've done in a very long time. You can't blame me for wanting to look good. All right.
I think Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, is the single most amazing thing that ever happened to this program. But, yesterday was pretty good too, though. Yeah, I got to admit. I got some compliments, something I don't normally get. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Give me a directive. I will follow.
I have given one directive about this.
I know, but as far as this goes, I mean,
entirely up to you.
I don't feel like being told what I'm doing wrong.
Fair enough.
One thing that I'm doing wrong is addition. I don't know how to add. Hey, listen to that. It's a Furman promo. We got some tickets.
Sure do. Are we required to give those on air? Could I do I wonder if I could do a stream.
No, we tried that before. It didn't work. And yes, I would prefer that we do it. Yeah, I'm just keeping my nose away from the microphone, just because for you, Kevin. I just wanted you to have a pleasant experience. I mean, I can put it back over there if you want. Trying to disguise the fact that I'm a mouth breather.
A nose whistler.
It's a knuckle dragging mouth breather.
The Rob Brown Show is back on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate, the third, the final, the best. The Money Hour comes your way right now, ladies and gentlemen. We are ever so glad to have you as a part of our little family here from 9 to noon every day.
You know, you've called this a money hour for a really long time. How come I don't get more money for this hour?
For the record, I don't either.
Okay, I thought maybe it was a
Just fun.
your side, my side kind of thing. So
The answer is because I have always called the third hour of my show the Money Hour. It used to be back on my old station when I hosted the afternoon drive time show, which was at a weird time. The first one I ever did was from 2 to 6. Usually they're like 3 to 7 or 4 to 7. Mine was 2 to 6 for some reason for a while. And so the last hour was the drive time hour. So it was a money hour. And then just since then, every final hour of the show has been the money hour. Mainly because it's a catchphrase. And I'm just trying to put myself over, Alonzo. Just trying to get myself over. Nothing more.
You don't need to get yourself over. You are over. In a good way. People who are not wrestling fans may think that he's like done. No, over is a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. I was just curious about that because I thought there was probably money that I was getting shorted, and I just all we care about is money.
By the way, I put up on the
That's why we're here.
I put up on the poll on Twitter earlier, is Tom Brady attractive? A simple yes or no answer. And 66, so full 2/3 of people say yes so far.
Yeah, 23 people have voted. We'll see. We'll see. I just voted myself, and I voted no.
Oh, did you?
Yes. I can vote in our polls.
So shocked by that.
Did you vote in your own poll?
Damn right I did.
Of course you did.
Use whatever tools I have at my disposal to make myself appear, correct. Anyway, we gave you some of the sound. Were there any clips, Lonzo? Were there any clips that I did not play that the title have caught your interest? I know that, well, because you said you didn't get a chance to listen to the presser. And I don't want to short you or anyone else.
I can't. After all the negativity today about the press conference, I can't go back and watch the whole thing like I was going to after the show. Now it's just like all I hear is Rob in the back of my mind going, "He's not saying anything."
It's dramatic.
I would have been louder, but I might have hurt myself. So
Fair enough.
I just didn't want to do that.
All right, so we'll get away from that. Unless you guys want to hear more.
And in truth, I have it in a multi-track, and they're very small.
Gotcha.
And I'd have to put my glasses on to really, look at it. So
I'll tell you
'cause
what
I'm
else.
old.
I'll tell you what else. They asked him. Frank Reich has lived in the Carolinas. Outside of coaching, he's lived in the Carolinas. They asked why. He said he loves the Carolinas. Says, I love Charlotte. I love the Carolinas. My wife and I met here. My kids were raised here. I love this city. He goes, and now I get to be here, not only in the place that I have elected to live, even when I didn't work here, but now I get to be the head coach here too. That's incredible. Thought it was a great answer. Thought it showed that Reich is very much ingrained in the community as opposed to just a guy who's a football coach.
So I saw the other day him being interviewed by the Panther staff, if I recall,
Yeah.
and he was in his daughter's living room.
Yeah.
And his whole family lives here except for he and his wife. So he gets to come back and be around his entire family. I mean, that's an awesome story right there. If you've moved away and never got a chance to move back and get to see the grandkids and all that kind of stuff, that's a cool story.
Yeah. That's it's like I said, to me, and I think you guys, at least I hope I have shown this through my actions since I moved here. I think if you are in a position like that, or like the position I'm in, you are better at it if you are ingrained in the community, right? Like you are better at this if you are at events, if you are doing stuff, if you are involved in the community that you are trying to be a part of. I take that to heart. That's why if there is a local sporting event in town, you'll see me at it, right? And I think Frank Reich showed that, which I thought was a great answer.
Including this Friday. That's
Friday Night SmackDown.
Friday Night SmackDown.
Frank Reich was asked about his offensive philosophy. He talked a little bit about that. basically said that, again, detail-oriented. He said, pocket passer is kind of not a dead but dying concept in the NFL. He said, but at the same time, you've got to know how to run that offense. He goes, look, if it's 2 minutes left in the game, you're down 6, you can't run the ball at that spot, right? Like, you've got to have an offense that is capable of dropping back, setting in the pocket, and throwing the football. He said, it's not like we're not going to know that, but also the offense has to be updated. He got asked why things fell apart in Indianapolis. He said, here's the deal. We had a lot of transition. We had a lot of moving parts. We had a lot of discrepancies and a lot of problems. He said, if you look back through my career, you will see that he said, this part kind of almost shocked me a little bit. He said, you will see, the record will show you that I am an adjustment coach. I am better in the second half than I am in the first half. Every season, including playoff runs, my team got stronger as the year went on, not the other way around. He said, I feel like I had the opportunity to prove that we had the adjustments ready in Indy right when we were hitting the point where injuries were starting to impact the league and parity was about to increase, and my team was getting ready to make its second half jump. They pulled the rug out from under me, and now I'm going to get the opportunity to show that was a mistake.
Yeah, that's awesome. And one of the things that we've discussed is the fact that one of the things that the Panthers couldn't do this year was make second half adjustments, period. The good coaches and the great coaches, the guys like Andy Reid, they're going to come out and you're going to see the first series from both sides, what kind of adjustments were made. And when you come out and there are no adjustments, then you got a problem.
Yeah. And I think that he did a very good job of addressing the situation in Indy without coming across as, bitter or whatever, which he absolutely would have had the right to be. I think a majority of us, especially now with having seen the way that Jim Irsay's been acting the last couple of months, I think most of us would have accepted if he was like, you know what, bleep them. Or we like, yo, I get it.
Or we should be saying congratulations for getting out of that.
Exactly right. Exactly right. All right. So there are some more of the thoughts. If you have any interest in the rest of that audio, I may do something later with it. We'll see. But we've played you a bunch of it. I think we've hit the highlights in this one. Ladies and gentlemen, it is National Signing Day. It's time to talk Cruton. You got to get some Cruton talk in here now. Nicholas Harbor is the name that we're waiting on, right? 1:00 this afternoon, he will make his announcement. I will tell you a couple of things. Number one, 24/7 Sports has South Carolina opening the day today, coming into today, with the 16th best recruiting class in the nation. That ranks them ahead of Auburn. It ranks them ahead of Michigan. It hangs them ahead of TCU, Florida State, Arkansas, Nebraska, Texas Tech, Michigan State, all of those teams behind South Carolina in the overall Cruton rankings. I will also tell you that if they are able to pick up Nicholas Harbor and add him to the steal of Lenora Sellers back at the end of December, that number is going to jump. Now, they may not jump a couple of teams that are ahead of them. USC is one spot ahead of SC according to 24/7. USC is in play for, I believe, 2 more 5 stars today. Penn State is up there. South Carolina could jump Penn State, but Penn State has also got a 5-star they're waiting on today, may keep them up ahead of them. Texas A&M is checking in at 13 right now. They have got 2 5-stars who a lot of folks thought were going to jump off the boat based on the 5-7 season that A&M just turned in, who did not, and that kept them there. But that is, and this is one thing that I think there's going to be a lot of interest in moving forward, Zoe. It is evaluating the incoming recruiting class alongside the portal, right? So Florida State right now, for instance, is sitting back at number, 19 right now, or 20 according to 24/7 Sports. They picked up a 5-star wideout in Hakeem Williams. That was a big move. Florida State also, however, picked up arguably the best portal class so far. Obviously includes Jaheim Bell. as one of 7 incoming transfer additions, 4 or 5 of whom will likely make a big impact out of the gate. Remember, their wide receiver, Johnny Wilson, last year, incoming transfer. Starting running back last year was an incoming transfer. Now they add a guy like Jaheim Bell in there and have a pretty good class. These are recruiting class rankings, but they do not take into consideration the evaluation of the portal itself, right? So South Carolina has had a pretty good, a respectable portal class, but their recruiting class has been excellent for South Carolina, relatively speaking. We've talked about the fact, and I talked about the fact back in early January, that South Carolina, right this moment, is having not just success in state recruiting, but they're having success out of state recruiting as well. In fact, we talked with Shane Beamer yesterday. Again, if you haven't heard that interview yet, go to thefanupstate.com, hit the podcast button, drop it down to the Rob Brown Show, and the top link is going to be our interview from yesterday with Shane Beamer. And I asked him, I said, hey, look, you guys right now are doing the best job maybe ever that South Carolina has done recruiting outside of the region, right? I'm not just talking about the Midlands and the upstate. I'm talking about recruiting outside of the state. What do you attribute that to? And Shane went on to say, it's a culture thing, right? Like, it's a culture thing. Shane said we want to get the right guys who want to be here for the right reasons. He said we do want to own the state. We do want to own the state of South Carolina in terms of recruiting, but we also understand that while there are an excellent amount of homegrown players, you've got to be able to go into other people's backyards. One of the things that has been interesting is the number of 4 and 5 stars coming out of different areas over the years. South Carolina per population has a lower percentage of 4 and 5 star athletes coming out of it, 4 and 5 star recruits, I should say, coming out of it, than Florida, California, Texas, like the states, as recruiting hotbeds, but a few other ones as well. Even down to some cities. And we can talk all we want about population factor, right? Now, I think South Carolina is good. I think South Carolina is one of the 3 or 4 most moved to states over the past couple of years, and that should help a little bit. But you're also seeing a large percent of the population moving west and moving south, down to the southeast, down to Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, etc. And I think Shane pointed on the fact that we've got to be there already when they get there, right? Like, we've got to have a base and a pipeline established when we get there. And I think they've done a really good job with that. So Nicholas Harbor is basically the linchpin for South Carolina. They might move up to 12, 13, 14, sitting ahead of the Gamecocks right now. South Carolina, as we mentioned, is checked in at 16. USC is 15. Penn State is 14. Sitting at 13 are the Aggies of A&M. Sitting at 12 are the Gators of Florida. Remember, Jaden Rashada, their 5-star potential out of California, was going to go there, but then the NIL deal with the Gator Collective fell apart. And when the Gator Collective NIL fell apart, he requested out of his national letter of intent. They let him go. Florida needs help at quarterback. Anthony Richardson decided to go ahead and jump to the NFL draft. Jalen Kitna was dismissed because of the fact that he had illegal images of children on his software, allegedly. So he got dismissed from the school. Jaden Rashada and Graham Mertz were the 2 names. Rashada as a recruit, Mertz as an incoming transfer from Wisconsin. Rashada is now out, obviously, which means that as of right now, they really only have a transfer coming in. They are going to be looking for a last-second quarterback today. They were in contention for Kermani McClain. Remember, McClain is the 5-star cornerback that was interested in Miami, was interested in Florida less so, ditched them both to head out to Colorado. Checking in one spot ahead of them at number 11 with 26 recruits, that is where you find Dabo Swinney's Clemson Tigers. They obviously lost DJ Uiagalelei. Cade Klubnik stepped in, will be the starter in week 1 last year, but they did also sign former Alabama quarterback Paul Tyson. Klubnik will be the guy next year. Clemson has 26 signees in the 2023 class right now. They are centered around 5-star defensive lineman Peter Woods. Couple of names that are still going to be up there for Clemson later on today. I know, and I saw this earlier today on their Clemson Plus network, are doing a full National Signing Day special. So when we get off the air here at noon, I will be heading to check that out, to take a look at that and see, the breaking news as it happens. Fax machines around the country will be celebrated today, ladies and gentlemen. It is the only day where fax machines remain relevant.
When do you think they dust those off and make sure they still work? Like a week before, or?
I got to think you got to be well prepared, right? Like, you've got to know. In fact, not only that, I think you have 2 or 3 fax machines ready just in case one goes down. I remember, so when I was down in Florida, I'll say this and then we'll take a break. When I was down in Florida this day, especially like 10, 12 years ago, when I was still wet behind the ears as a broadcaster, as they say. National Signing Days, though, every single year, we would have bars clamoring to have us come out on remote, right? We would be live on remote all day for National Signing Day. It does not have the appeal anymore that it used to have. It does not have the same attention that it used to. I remember there was one year, and I'm not making this up. We were at a place called Anglers, which was a restaurant and bar on the beach on Okaloosa Island, halfway between Destin and Fort Walton Beach.
Could you fish there?
Sure could. It was literally attached to the pier. That's why they called it Anglers.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So we went to Anglers for National Signing Day, and Anglers was the home of the Alabama Booster Club in the Florida Panhandle. So they brought us there, and they set us up, and we were upstairs in the bar, and there was a big projector screen on. I was like, what is this? I'm talking to the president of the Booster Club. I'm like, what is this? And he goes, oh, that's our video feed from Alabama. I said, video feed of what? And he turns his computer on, and the projector sparks up. They pointed a camera, Lonzo, at the fax machine in the football offices in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, at the University of Alabama. They pointed the camera at the fax machine. And every time that the fax machine would light up, they would get jacked about it. Like they just scored a touchdown. The fax would print out a thing, and they had a young lady who would walk over in her houndstooth pencil skirt and white blouse, and she would pick up the fax, and she would walk over to the camera, and she would just like look at it, and she would show it to the crowd. You couldn't read what was on it, but she'd like show that it was a national letter of intent. She'd walk off screen, and then within like 45 to 50 seconds, Alabama would send out the announcement of who that NLI was from. These Bama fans sat in this office for like 4 hours just watching a fax machine print. It was incredible. It was incredible.
It's incredibly sad is what it is.
That's Cruton, man. Look, I have said to you guys many times, I'm not a Cruton guy. I don't spend time racked up in Cruton until today, till National Signing Day. Really, until tomorrow when I can look up and down the whole class, right? And then I can go start watching films and highlights from different guys. When Cam Pringle signed a week and a half ago, whatever it was, I went and watched the film. Lonzo came in, and I was sitting in the office watching Cam Pringle game tape for like 30 minutes before the show to get a feel for the guy. I gave you my context. I think he'll run plays. He's too high out of the chute. I think he gets his upper body over his lower body, where I want that upper body moving forward and pushing the center of gravity down. I think that he's got a great first kick in pass pro. I think he's susceptible to pass rushers who are able to stay very low out of the gate, right? He gets that kick back, and he gets that center of gravity set very quickly, but it's raised up too much. I need him kicking back and staying low in that stance so he can defend from every part of the pass brush. But those are all things that are teachable. The things that aren't teachable, right? Aggression, hustle, playing through the whistle, finishing blocks, picking up new blocks, picking up secondary rushes, etc. He's great at those things. Those are all things that can't be coached. All the things you can't coach, he's got. It's the fundamentals that are going to have to be worked on, but I'll take a guy that's got all the intangibles and no technique. I will take that guy over a guy who's got incredible technique but doesn't finish blocks. Doesn't have the killer instinct. Doesn't block to the whistle, right? I'll take that guy. So today, around 7 o'clock, when these signing classes are finalized, then I'll have all the Clemson recruits, and I can go pick up game film on YouTube and give you some thoughts. I can do that with the guys at South Carolina. I can do that with the guys at Furman, et cetera, et cetera. I can give you some actual thoughts on these cats as opposed to just doing that in November when you don't know, when they got 10 schools left. Anyway, all eyes on Nicholas Harbor. We'll talk about him probably on tomorrow's show. Took his last visit with Oregon over the weekend. There have been a lot of guys that have given the crystal ball for Nicholas Harbor to go to South Carolina, but apparently the Oregon trip impressed his family quite a bit. And his dad had some very kind things to say about Oregon after they got back from Eugene. So there are, in the last 6-7 hours, a couple of Cruton experts who have flipped that script and think that he might pick Oregon in a little swerve at the very end. We will have all eyes on that. Stay tuned to our social media feed, because when he announces at 1 o'clock this afternoon, I will make sure it gets tweeted out and put out on the social immediately. Let's take a break. Come back here in just a minute. Got a few more things that I want to get to on the radio broadcast before we call it a day, including something that happened in New York after Philly won that New York fans still ain't over. All that and more coming up, followed by Twitter trending topics and the end of the show on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
It's so weird that someone actually turns the radio off in the bathroom. Do they want to hear their own personal symphony, or why? I mean, they just want dead silence. Why?
So, you a fan of The Princess Bride?
You wound me deeply.
Okay. Inigo Montoya is an incredible character. Incredible character.
Played by Mandy Patinkin.
Correct. The ACC
went after the six-finger man. Because he asked me that, I'm just going to have to...
That's fine. Make as many references as you like. I'm only mostly dead.
You keep saying this word. I don't know that you know what it means.
You think that it means. The ACC just released their men's and women's fencers of the week, because ACC fencing is where it's at. The name of the male fencer of the week is Boston College's Inigo Rivera.
Oh.
You go to every fencing match and walk up to your opponent and go, "Hello, my name is Inigo Rivera. Prepare to die. You killed my father." I don't say you killed my father because he didn't, but I absolutely say my name is Inigo.
Well, if that's
Rivera.
your motivation, that's your motivation. So every opponent you see is a six-fingered man.
Is there a better name for a fencer than Inigo?
No, there's not.
There's not. If I was a fencer, I would change my name to Inigo.
How do you know he didn't?
Fair enough.
Maybe it's a nickname.
Inigo Rivera and Christina Ferrari, which is also a great name.
Agreed. Unless
Hello.
unless you're slow and plotting, then it doesn't work.
Like he's even got the right amount of syllables in the last name. My name is Inigo Rivera. You killed my father.
I think you should go
Prepare to die.
as Inigo this year for South Carolina Comic-Con. Can't be that hard of a costume to put together. Get yourself a pirate shirt.
I've got a sword. I don't have a fencing sword. I'd have to buy a fencing sword. Which, shucks.
Hey, sometimes you gotta sacrifice.
I do have a pirate sword. I could go as the Dread Pirate Roberts.
You could, which Inigo becomes at the end of Princess Bride. By the way, Kevin, the money thing is sarcasm. You know those people who take your order at whatever restaurant you go to, they make more money than me. That was the joke. But I love my job, so there's that.
Last couple of texts of the show. Rob, I'm a copier technician, and you'd be surprised how much faxing is still used in business. Most commercial copiers have the ability to be equipped with fax. Yeah, I mean, we have a fax machine here.
Well, no, it's a copier. That's
with a faxing apparatus.
That has a built-in faxer. Yes.
You've worked here how many years? A lot of years.
We're working on 24 now.
Okay.
I just surpassed the 23.
In the last 365, how many faxes have you sent?
I haven't. I had to send one somewhere. I think it was last year.
So one,
maybe, yeah,
in a year.
Yeah. There was a time, because I do a lot of the affidavits for the stations. There was a time when affidavits had to be sent out by fax.
By fax?
Yeah. But that was, I don't know, that might have been 10 years ago.
That has to have been before scanners became something you just popped on your desk because they were this big.
It was not a fun time.
Like we're at the point now where I could probably walk down to engineering and tell them I need a scanner and have one on my desk in 30 minutes. Because that I wouldn't even notice was there.
Yeah, our engineering department rocks. That's why you would. Yes, for sure.
Who uses a fax machine still? How many of you have sent out a fax in the last 6 months? I mean, I know there's going to be one or two. But like faxes to me are like, well, no, I was going to say something there. I'll hold back on it.
I used to have to fax my time card when I worked at a place called the Warehouse Club back in Ohio before it went out of business, because everywhere I worked went out of business.
But like you being Ohio was at least 3 decades ago.
No, I know.
Yeah.
It was a while.
I mean, it's, people used to have to ride the horse to work. We passed that.
Some people still do, dadgum.
Dang it. Dadgummit. Anyway, all right, we'll see. Appreciate that text. The other text
Steven says he doesn't have an iPhone, but Steven says your iPhone has a built-in scanner.
Oh, my Google Pixel does too. 100%. I can literally point it at a paper and have it turned into a PDF instantly.
Probably lower quality though.
Google Pixel's way better than
it's kind of one of those,
Us Android people are superior to you iPhoneers.
Oh, you're one of those people. Yeah.
100%. Other text just says, Rob, it says, fan, Lonzo is right. Rob is a doo-doo. Quote, end quote.
Hey, man, you're a doo-doo.
Rob is a doo-doo.
Hey, have you ever been called a doo-doo before?
Yeah, second grade.
Okay.
So more doo-doo head, I think.
I was going to say, I don't think you remember second grade because you've passed that threshold where certain years start being lost.
Texas says, fan, is it safe to say that Frank Reich may not have had enough information to know how to fix it yet? What if he just wants to wait before he calls people out? Guys,
Which was my point.
you do understand that you can talk about the problems of a football team without bringing up individual people, right? You can say the scheme was bad. That doesn't involve anybody. In fact, that doesn't involve anybody but Matt Rule and maybe Steve Wilkes.
Well, they didn't throw the ball enough. Maybe the quarterback's a problem. If you talk about a problem, you're being specific, even if you're trying not to be specific.
No.
He already talked about all the good things, which means everything else was horrible. So if you minus the offensive line, the defense, and the running game, everything else needs work on. He basically said that.
I just want to know what he think went wrong. That's all. That's all. That's all.
Be deductive. You can do that.
I don't want to. It's not my job. Okay, I'm not.
Well, it kind of is.
We've already done this. All right, we've already done this, and I'm right.
Dismissed.
Texas says it was already unquestionable that Brady is the GOAT, but now that we know that he went through an entire NFL season just because his now ex-wife told him not to, makes it even better. Hashtag TB shelf. TB shelf. That's so good.
Okay, how's that make it better? I mean,
if you hate Brady, it makes it better in that he was willing to go about his relationship to play football, and then he went 8-9 and got bounced hard out of the wild card round.
Well, I don't wish a broken family on anybody. So I mean, in the end, that's why I kind of try to stay away from that as much as I can. Every once in a while, you can't help yourself, but in the end, it's a broken family. And that's just something you hate to see.
Texas says, Rob, who do you think ends up as the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals? I don't know.
A babysitter.
Probably. And keep in mind that we know that the Cardinals are not above that because that is exactly what Steve Wilkes was to them. A one-year babysitter until they could get their guy.
I was being literal, but that's fine.
No, Wilkes was a babysitter.
No, I'm talking about.
Oh, you're making a Kyler Murray as a baby joke.
Yes.
Got it. Love it.
In stature and supposedly in actions.
Let's see. The latest, I'll just tell you the latest interview texter is Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. Don't necessarily love that. I would have loved to have seen the Cardinals make a push for D'Amico Ryans, but I would have loved anybody making a push for D'Amico Ryans. Another name that I'm interested in, Brian Flores is a potential candidate for that job as well. He interviewed with the Cardinals on Monday. That would probably be, I think that would be a very good hire. I think that he's got plenty of experience. I think that he has shown success in what happened at Miami. I do not let Stephen Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, off the hook for how bad that went. I put a lot of Miami's failures before Mike McDaniels got there on him. And I think that the Brian Flores lawsuit has, as somebody who has followed it somewhat loosely, I think the Brian Flores lawsuit that named the Dolphins as a defendant kind of pushed Stephen Ross back a little bit. Think about that. With the Brady scenario, the Sean Payton story, the Brian Flores lawsuit, for about 2 years, we heard Stephen Ross constantly in the news. Since the Brian Flores lawsuit, when's the last time you heard Stephen Ross's name? You haven't. He's been out of the news. He has kind of crept back to one of his multi-condos on Miami Beach and stayed out of the way. Brian Flores would not only be a good head coach, but remember, the Cardinals are also a defendant in that lawsuit that Brian Flores brought against the league. And the Cardinals, because of what they did with Steve Wilkes, were kind of thrown under the bus by that lawsuit. Would they be willing to roll the dice on Brian Flores to give him another opportunity at being an HC to not only get themselves one of the best remaining candidates, but also to maybe buy themselves a little bit of goodwill?
Yeah, but put the shoe on the other foot. Out of the jobs that are remaining, you got Arizona, you got Indy. Is that it? I think that's it right now. I'd rather go to Indy because
even with Jim Irsay being a clown right now.
Yes, because you know why? You don't have a quarterback in Indy. So you can kind of pick who you want. The quarterback you have in Arizona, you got a lot of money tied into someone. Even though I crack on him all the time, he's very talented, but there's a problem with him. He is injury prone because of his build and how he plays the game. He is not going to last because of that. So you're tied into that money. I'd rather go to Indy where at least maybe through the draft or whatever, I could bring in my own guy.
Fair enough.
Because Kyler Murray he was an amazing story when he first started, but right now he's more, how much does he actually play?
Brandon said hashtag droid life. Yes. Anyway, the that is a potential. However, he's not the last name that's gotten interviews left. Ejiro Evero is the defensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos. He is 42 years old, has never been a head coach, but has been in the league since 2005, has been a coach in the league for 15 full seasons. The Broncos had the 8th ranked defense in total yards allowed this year. He was with the Rams when they won that Super Bowl behind Stafford. Names are hard. He won the Super Bowl with the Rams. He was the secondary coach and passing game coordinator in that one.
You could have just said pizza, and we would have got it.
Yeah. Pafford. They have interviewed their own this would be the name that I would be most intrigued by. Vance Joseph is already in the building in Arizona. He has been the DC there. He was with the Broncos as the head coach for 2 years. It was not great, 11-21, but the Broncos were also transitioning. I mean, still on the tail end of the transition out of the Peyton Manning era. Not a great look, but he's been there in Arizona for a couple of years. They kind of knows the organization, so he might be a name I keep an eye on as well. Texas said, I'm probably the only person supporting big facts these days. Sometimes I look up large companies' fax numbers and send them strange facts. Sometimes when I get bored, I'll send random facts on fax numbers in the phone book. So he just writes down random facts and then faxes the facts.
Thank you, Bart Simpson.
Yeah. It's, you're keeping the old ways alive, I guess.
Someone has to. He's the gatekeeper. Thank you.
Hey, did you guys hear Tom Brady retired? Did you hear about this? Tom Brady retired.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Tom Brady put out a video early this morning, said he's done. He's out. It's for real this time. He said, I'm good for sure. He went on to say that he already used his big retirement essay last year. So it was about a 37-second to the point video saying, I'm for real done. Here is my question. Do you believe it?
People breaking down the video right now saying that he didn't actually film it when he said he filmed it. That he filmed it another time, and they're looking at the sky and all this good
weather patterns.
Yes, they are, because apparently that matters.
It does, man. Like if he recorded 3 or 4 days ago and then he sat on it for 3 or 4 days, it could mean he's being indecisive, Let me record this just in case I decide to post it. What if he recorded it in case he was thinking about posting it one day and then he accidentally hit the draft and publish button?
Or he recorded it a couple of days ago waiting to see where Sean Payton went, and then he went to Denver and said, okay, I'm done.
Yep. That was my thought too.
Yeah, that could be it.
It came out the morning after Sean Payton took a job in Denver, a place that has no room for Tom Brady. That might have been it. He did want to play for Sean Payton at one point, remember? He was New Orleans was the odds-on favorite for a minute as Brady's next team when he announced he was leaving New England because Payton was there. So that's absolutely a possibility at this point. Here's the other thing, and I hate that I had this thought, but I had this thought. Remember a couple of weeks ago, we had the video that came out of Drew Brees being struck by lightning? And Twitter popped off, and Lonzo and I were like, holy crap, that looks real. Well, it turned out that it was a guerrilla marketing technique. It was a promo video, right? Because a gambling company that Brees was doing endorsements for had just rolled out a product called Lightning Bets or Lightning something, Lightning Bets, Lightning something. And that was a promo for that.
The marketing campaign was not successful because we've already forgotten what it was.
Correct. Well, because they had to pull it, right? Because they got absolutely trashed. Because for like a solid half a day, we were all like, is Drew Brees dead? Did we just watch Drew Brees bite it? Is he done? Is he out? Did he check out of this mortal plane? And then like 3 hours later, they're like, our bad. Maybe a bit in bad taste, right? We were trying to drive up some interest in this, and it totally was. Y'all, there is a movie dropping, or has just dropped, or is dropping this weekend, conveniently timed, starring, well, in a cameo, but starring Tom Brady. It is called 80 for Brady. It is about a group of ladies of a...
You can say older ladies. They're definitely, the 80, I'm guess, has to do with their age.
I'm assuming
Yes.
So the movie's 80 for Brady. It's about a group of older ladies. Sally Fields is in it. Is it Jane Fonda, I think, is in it?
Yeah, she is. And Lily Tomlin.
Lily Tomlin, who I adore, by the way, just so you're all aware. Anyway, that movie comes out in a couple of days, right? So that movie comes out in a couple of days. Tom Brady is going to be a reason. Rita Moreno is the other one that's in there. It's starring alongside Jane Fonda, Sally Field, Rita Moreno, and Lily Tomlin, Tom Brady, and Rob Gronkowski, right? What are the odds that this was a poorly planned marketing campaign for Tom Brady's new flick, 80 for Brady, and then in a couple of days, he comes back out and he's like, see, if I retired, you would have missed your last shot to see me play, like Jane, Sally, Rita, and Lily did in the hit movie 80 for Brady. But I'm going to come back for one more year so you, like Jane, Sally, Lily, and Rita, can see me play one more time. But for real this time, this is my last year. If this turns out to be an effort at a viral marketing campaign for the 80 for Brady movie, I need you to know that I will absolutely elevate Tom Brady into elite troll status.
It's not a work.
On the dot.
It's not a work. How dare you put that in anyone's mind or speak that to the universe, as they say. It's not a work. This is for real. He's done. Stop it.
I genuinely want Tom Brady in about how many days away from the Super Bowl? 11? In 11 days, I want there to be an ad during the Super Bowl. Hey, guys, it's Tom Brady, one of the stars of the new hit movie, 80 for Brady, a movie where some very nice young ladies, Jane Fonda, Sally Field, Lily Tomlin, and Rita Moreno, come to see me play in a Super Bowl. And if I retired, you would have no more chances to see me play. But this movie is so heartfelt that I've decided I'm unretiring again.
You know, I'm blaming this evil that you're spewing on our disagreement earlier about Frank Reich's press conference. I think that's the only reason why you're saying this, is to bother me and you're trying to bring me down, man. You're trying to ruin my day. This is for henceforth, as long as Lonzo shall live, will be a celebratory day, and you're trying to take it away from me.
Listen, I want this to happen for two reasons. Number one, I absolutely believe Tom Brady is good enough to win Super Bowl 8. Number two, I cannot tell you what that Monday would be like coming into work, tired from a long night watching the Super Bowl, had a couple of bourbons during the game, to see Lonzo, Chiefs win or lose, the next morning having to address the Super Bowl ad where Tom Brady revealed his unretirement and that this was a marketing stunt for 80 for Brady. I'm in.
All right, you're killing me. You know what I want to do? I want to give away tickets right now. It will make me feel better.
Let's do it.
Giving is better than what you're not giving right now.
I am giving.
You're taking
I'm
from my day.
All those Brady fans hope that
you're taking
we get
from my day.
Our own 8. Hey, 38 for Brady is going to be amazing when I go see him next year.
Furman tickets. Let's give some away.
4 tickets to this weekend's doubleheader of Furman basketball at the Well Downtown GVL, the women's game at 3 the men at 6. We have got a family 4-pack to give away right now to caller number 3. Caller number 3 to 844-326-3663. Caller number 3 to 844-326-3663 is winning a family 4-pack of tickets to go see Furman Paladin basketball doubleheader, men's and women's, 3 and 6 o'clock this Saturday at the Well, downtown GVL. Caller number 3-844-326-3663. We're back to wrap this up on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Do it again. Do it again, Brady. All right, we'll be right back while Lions answers the phone. Stay right there.
Hey, you are the
Hey, dudes and dudettes, we's back.
We're back. Thanks to everybody who called. Obviously you didn't win, but you can win tomorrow. I mean, you know, we'll be giving some away tomorrow. You are not chopped liver, Stephen, but what we do is follow instructions.
I mean, we do give them away on the stream. You guys hear it
yeah,
at the
you
same
guys
time
can
they go on the radio.
Yeah, you guys can call. I mean, it's not, you know. You know, there's really no time for Twitter trending topics, but it is a day of celebration, a day when we all shall rejoice that we walk out of our collective offices, look up to the sky, and say, yes, he is finally gone. Finally
Until next Sunday.
gone. Until, like halftime at the Super Bowl or
Texter
something.
said, Rob, you're really reaching. Oh, I am. I acknowledge that I am. But do you understand?
It's a plausible reach, though.
Tom Brady would win the comedy Oscar for acting if he comes back next week and goes, gotcha, Lonzo.
What this is knowing who you work with and how to, and the fact that Lonzo, that would be me, overthinks everything. And now I'm going to be thinking about this and it's taken away from my day. Rob finds a way to steal everyone's joy.
All right, what do we got trending?
No, Tom Brady's the only thing. Tom Brady is gone. His forehead is big. He's got a movie coming out, and now Rob's got me thinking it's a work, and that's really, really bothering me.
Yeah, I hope it is. I genuinely hope.
Why? Because you want him to still play at
45,
50,
46.
He's going to be 46. Yes.
Because I want him back next year, predominantly because I enjoy the look on the faces of folks like Lonzo when he succeeds. That's it. No other reason.
Yeah. You could say he succeeded this year, but did he? I mean, someone had to win.
He won the division.
Someone had to win it. And, if he had more consistent coaching at Carolina Panthers, there's no way he would have won. But, fine. Good for him. Way to go out on a winning. We saw how bad they really were.
Brady looks and goes, all right, I'm not out. San Francisco works a deal with Tampa Bay under the table quietly to send him out to the Bay. You're telling me that San Francisco team with Tom Brady this year can't win a Super Bowl?
By the way, I've been saying all along that if he goes anywhere, he should go to San Francisco. If he does go to San Francisco, they got a good shot of winning the Super Bowl. But you know what? As of this moment, as far as we know, he is retired.
Trey Lance gets to get out of San Francisco, which has not gone well, right? You get Tampa Bay gets a young quarterback to build around. Jimmy G gets reunited with his mentor. The 49ers get a quarterback who does not fall out due to injury and are Super Bowl caliber. And Rob gets to come in that Monday morning and go, how you feeling, Zoe? Because it's either going to be
celebrate good times. Tom's gone. Let's celebrate. Tom's gone.
I would love the juxtaposition of Lonzo being Super Bowl champ and also realizing Brady's coming back next year. I think we should probably end the show here. He's Lonzo. I'm Rob. Thanks for listening. You guys are incredible, and we will see you back here tomorrow for more of the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate later. Brother.
Juxta what? Does it have something to do with the train?
Would you pull for San Francisco with McCaffrey, Debo, and Brady, Lonzo?
No, I would not. No.
Yes.
No.
Brendan says hand claps emojis.
I love McCaffrey. I love Debo.
But not as much as you hate Tom.
Right.
Guys, y'all are the best. Thanks for watching. We will see you back here tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.